Simpson going deep. Lottie Brooks against Toriano Pride.
What a throw.
Simpson on 4th and goal to pass to the end zone. It is Daniel Hill, the 244-pound running back with the touchdown reception.
I'm not good with playing them close. It's bullcrap. We came here to win. We didn't get it done. We're going to be disappointed, but we're going to learn our lessons and leave the event. We're not going to sit here and pout, make it more than it was. Learn the lesson, leave the event. We're disappointed. We had a good enough football team. We turned the ball over twice. We didn't get off the field on 4th downs and didn't stay on the field on 3rd downs. Like, you're going to lose the game.
They had every opportunity to win the game on Saturday, and they just couldn't find a way to get it done. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, you got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. That audio courtesy of ESPN as the Missouri Tigers lose at home 27-24 against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alex, to me, we can get into all of the different reasons as to why Missouri lost that game on Saturday. There are a number of them, a lot of decisions that we can get into, a lot of performances that we can get into, including a really bad penalty early in the game by Zion Young, which should have had Alabama on their first drive and 3rd and long. Instead, they get the first down. So a lot of stuff to get into today. But to me, that game came down to one thing. They have a quarterback that's up for the Heisman contention this year, and he made some huge throws, especially on 4th down. And your guy didn't play well enough.
That's not my guy, your guy.
Bo Prabila, who I gave all of his flowers earlier this season because he got off to one hell of a start this year. He didn't play well on Saturday. He came up short. In the biggest possible moments, he made critical mistake after critical mistake. And man, in this era of NIL where I don't know exactly how much money he's making, but he's making enough, it's okay to be critical of a college kid here. Okay. Because he's being paid to perform. And on Saturday, he did not perform well enough. Missouri lost because one of these two teams has a quarterback that can elevate those around him. Dude, their best player is Ryan Williams. Do you know where he stood in their stat sheet on Saturday?
Wasn't he like
he only had one target.
He did not make it to the stat sheet. Yeah. 0 receptions in the game.
He had one target.
He's their most talented player, a guy that last year we were talking about. It's like, oh my God. I don't know that he's like a legit Heisman contender, but top 10 for sure. He's amazing. Did not record a reception on Saturday, and it didn't matter. Because their dude made the plays when it mattered the most, and your guy consistently gave the ball to the other team when it mattered the most. So that was my biggest takeaway from the game. The most important position in the sport, they had a better dude than you did on Saturday, and that's what lost you the football game. What was your biggest takeaway from Saturday, Alex?
That was one of mine, but my biggest takeaway was to the head coach. Those coaching decisions that you made were not coaching decisions that beat Alabama. You decide to go for it. Or I'm sorry, you decide to not go for it on 4th down and instead go out with your punt team, and then you fake the punt and you run the football. I'm watching this, and I'm like, first of all, if you're going to go for it, or if you're going to fake the punt, why not just go for it? Keep your offense out there and let them try and get some work done. And then on top of that, the creative fake punt play you come up with is to just run the football. So to me, that was a really bad decision on the coaching side of things. And then the onside kick. There was plenty of time there for you to kick the football, to go down, stop them like you did, and not put your offense down, what was it, like within 15 yards of their own end zone? Like, you had a lot of work to do with a little over a minute to play, rather than if you would have got the stop and just kicked the ball like normal, we would have been talking about Mizzou being in an ideal field position. So I mentioned it last week, like, this is one of those games I'm going to be watching for Drink, and at times I think he did make some good decisions. But in the most critical part of that game, those two decisions I thought were just bad decisions on the coaching side of things.
I agree. I thought, to me, the bigger one, I didn't like the 4th down decision to go for it with a fake punt. If you're going to go for it there, just go, man. Put your offense on the field, get your best play, and go. Instead, they decided to go with the fake punt. I remember against Kentucky a couple of years ago, it was the play that ended up really changing the course of Mizzou's season. They go for the fake punt, they throw it over the top. It ends up going to, I think it was Marquise Johnson in that spot. I think he scored on the play, if I remember correctly, and then boom, everything from there completely changed the direction of the year. This one didn't quite go the same way.
That one was more creative
it might
than
have
this
changed the
one.
direction of the year.
I just couldn't believe they handed the football off to run there.
To be fair, he was inches away. He was inches away. I didn't like the decision. I would not have gone that route. I preferred that they would have gone with an actual run. I thought 2 plays before then, though, was where things really went awry. On that drive, we're going to get into the play calling. I think some of the criticism has gone way overboard about the play calling. But there was one drive where I think they just got away from who they are. And it was they're down 20-17. Alabama had just missed a field goal. And so now you have this huge opportunity. 9 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. This is where I would have started to try to get my running game going again. It had not been great for most of the day, but it was fine. It was okay. And instead, on first down, again, 9 minutes left to play, you're at your own 31-yard line, they try to throw. The passing game had not been good up to that point. Bo Prabula gets sacked. He loses 2 yards. Now you're stuck. Now you have to throw on second and third down. So they throw it again on second down. They gain a yard. It's now third and 11. Of course, you're going to throw it again. They end up getting 7 yards there, and it's 4th and 4. That's when Jamal Roberts has the 3-yard run. I think they should have run it on first down. And if you run it on first down, you gain 3 or 4. You have everything in your playbook open to you on second down. Probably another run because it's 4-down territory there. You're trying to win this football game. You're down to, 7 minutes left to play. You're down by 3. I'm not trying to give the football back to Alabama. I'm not confident I can get a stop there. So that's the spot where I think they went wrong with their play calling. But the 4th down decision was really a reflection of what they did wrong on first down. And then the other one that I just personally hated, I didn't like the onside kick. I thought they messed up there. And the reason why is because, Drink explained it afterwards and says, hey, it's one opportunity that we could potentially get the ball back. You don't know how it's going to go there. And there's not a huge difference in terms of if you stop them there versus if you stop them deeper. I disagree. The difference is 30 yards potentially. And that showed up on their next drive where now you've got to get super aggressive with your play calling where you're trying to attack deep on the final drive of the game for Mizzou. And that led to the interception. If instead of that, you're able to run the football, which they could have done if they had the ball at the 40-yard line instead of at their own, 20, that changes everything about what's in play for you play calling wise. So I totally disagreed with the decision to go with the onside kick there as well. It's a very low percentage play. I think they said it. Mizzou has never recovered an onside kick in the SEC play. If I saw that correct on the broadcast.
Nothing like coaching with the do factor in mind.
I just don't understand onside kicks in general. Just kick the football and get the stop.
I get it if you don't have exactly.
If you
didn't have your timeouts, I could understand why you're going onside kick, right? Because that is the game. When you've got all three, then yeah, I don't totally get the decision to do that.
And I know Drink had the comment after the game of what was it, a minute and 18 seconds is a lot of time in college football. Yeah, but you also were within the 10-yard line. Imagine doing that at midfield. You have a little bit of a difference in this situation.
Yeah, I didn't like some of the coaching decisions that were done in the game because I agree with everything that BK just said about the onside kick. Didn't fully understand it. I agree with you. I don't understand the let's run a fake punt when a fake punt was clearly, hey, we should be antennas going off that they might be running a fake punt here.
We all said right beforehand, this is 4-down territory.
Yeah, and typically when you do a fake punt, that's your most creative play that the other team can't expect.
But my biggest takeaway from it, because even with all of that being the backdrop of everything, they had an opportunity to win that football game, right? It's not like one of these was the one decision that led to them losing the football game. It definitely added up to help.
It makes me so mad.
My biggest takeaway from it was, look, Prabula is a good quarterback. Not sure he's the guy that gets you above to that next level that helps you take down an Alabama, right? When you go up against an Alabama at home, you have to play an elite level at the quarterback position. And he made 2 big mistakes in that game, and that second interception was one of them where they have the drive. Everything is in their hands, right? They just got to get into field goal range, whatever that might be with their field goal situation. But they just got to get in field goal range to force overtime to feel alive in that football game, and he throws a pick. He didn't elevate the offense to the next level, and when you get to the spot where you're Alabama, and this was one of the concerns I had going into the week, if you can stop the run enough, or if you can pick apart the secondary like they did and you can get on top, is Prabula able to take the offense to the next level and beat Alabama, not with his legs, but with his arm? And the answer was no. He couldn't beat that defense with his arm, and that's why they go home with the loss.
Yeah, I mean, one quarterback was significantly better than the other one in terms of the decisions and the conversions. What were they, 1 for 10 on third downs? Come on, man.
They played what would you say that was for Mizzou, a C game? Quarterback didn't play well. Defense was fine, but didn't make stops when it mattered. They
I'd say it was
1 for
average.
10 on third down, Missouri was. They gave up 6 for 15 on third down, 3 for 3 on fourth down.
Yeah.
Bama held the ball for almost 40 minutes, time of possession-wise.
Yeah. I would
C
say
game?
it's average.
Yeah.
C minus. C.
And they lost to Alabama by 3. That's what hurts, man, is this was not like the game where you lost to Georgia a few years ago. That team wasn't as good as Georgia. This team is, I think, toe-to-toe with Alabama. Maybe it's not quite as good. Maybe you think there's a couple of places, especially quarterback, where Alabama's a little better. Their receivers are better than your receivers. Like, there were a couple of mismatches that you could see in this game. But overall, man, they were close. The margins there were not big at all. They had to make a perfect throw on fourth down, and they did. And they had to get some crucial stops for you, and they did. And that's what makes this one hurt. And so that's what I wanted to finish our conversation with today on Mizzou in this Open. Do you feel better or worse about Mizzou today than you did going into the weekend? Because they just left this game as a 3-point loss against, I think, one of the top 5 teams in the country. I think right now you can make a pretty strong case the best team in the SEC is Alabama. And you were right there, a throw or two away from beating them at home. So, but you lost. You lost the game, and you couldn't get those plays. Like, that matters as well. You couldn't get over the top. So do you feel better or worse about Mizzou today than you did on Friday, Alex?
I mean, to me, it's slightly worse. And it's not like I'm just completely done on the Missouri Tigers after this, but I went into that thinking they could beat Alabama. And if they did, you're talking about one of the 2 best teams in the SEC, if not the best team in the SEC. But your quarterback couldn't elevate your team to get the win, and there were some questionable coaching decisions in that one. So it's hard for me to sit here and say I feel the same, if not better, about Mizzou because they were within 3 points of Alabama. I mean, at some point, you got to get to that next tier. And to me, they're right around the tier that they were starting the season, going into the Alabama game, to where it's like, you know what, you're in that next best tier of the SEC, but you don't have the guys to put you in the top tier of the SEC. So I feel slightly worse about it.
I agree. I feel slightly worse as well. Not to the point where I think like they lose the rest of their SEC games, but they probably lose 2 more. Maybe another third one surprises me in that stretch. Like Auburn, now I can see where they can lose that one.
Oh, they could definitely lose that game.
I can see where they lose at Vandy as well. Right? Originally, I thought, okay, you beat Alabama, A&M, Oklahoma were the 2 games I saw as like leaning significantly towards the loss category. The problem for me now is I think it just got proven all the flaws that I had my concerns about. Just got proven that they can be picked apart in the SEC. Your secondary gets picked apart by a good throwing quarterback, and if the run game gets stopped enough, I don't know if Perbila's going to be able to get you over the top.
I feel worse because you had that one. You had it. You should have won that game. That's what makes it feel bad, man. I've gone into these games as a Missouri fan before, and you leave and you're like, they shouldn't have won. Like they were pretty fortunate to be in position to win, and couldn't get over the top. This one was different. This one, you had the team to do it. You should have won that game. You didn't play well enough to do it. So I feel worse because every single thing that could have been magnified was a stupid taunting penalty, a decision on fourth down where you go for a fake punt instead of putting your offense onto the field. And also, would the offense have been able to get those 3 yards? I don't know, man. I don't know that I had full confidence in that either. A decision where you go for the onside kick and then your defense holds up, but because you go for the onside kick, you end up getting stuck in your own end, and now you got to get hyper aggressive with your play calling, which once again puts pressure on your quarterback who had not performed well earlier in the day. And then he makes the one throw you just can't make in that spot. So all of this just leads me to believe, like, man, can they really run this gauntlet with one more loss the rest of the way? At Auburn, at Vandy, at Oklahoma, plus a home game against Texas A&M? Can you really go 3-1 in that stretch, which is what is going to be required for you to get to the college football playoff this year? I can't say right now with confidence that they can do that. And you just lost one game that could have given you that margin for error, where you could have gone on the road this weekend and you could have had a stinker against Auburn and it would have been like, all right, it's not the end of the world. You've still got margin for error remaining because you beat Alabama, because you got that win. It's gone. It's now completely gone. You removed that from the equation, and that is what hurts so much about the loss on Saturday. All right, alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Big news. Big news. T-Bone, you want to play my?
News alert.
You guys haven't seen this yet, right?
No.
You haven't been checking social media?
Nope.
No.
Breaking news in Major League Baseball. Mike Shildt has retired as the manager of the San Diego Padres.
What?
Okay. Sure he has. This sounds like the old, hey, Mike, we're going to go a different way with this one, but we don't want to make it look bad.
How old is Mike Shildt?
57? 58? He's not 60s.
I can look it up right now.
57.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Come on. I don't buy that he's
2 seasons as the
retired.
Padres manager.
Yeah.
And he's out.
This feels like
This feels like the Padres wanted to
This feels like
fire
Bruce
him.
Bochy's retiring from San Fran.
Yeah, but they wanted to respect it.
This is weird, right?
Yeah. It's kind of weird how like the St. Louis exit was weird, right?
Like 57 years old, retired? No way. I'm sorry. I don't buy it.
Does this make you... Do you think this changes at all the reaction to him being out here in St. Louis?
No, because I think people look at this and say, oh, he's just retiring. He doesn't want to do it anymore.
No, I think people in St. Louis see this, and I just don't know if it changes the reaction because I think people still like Mike Shildt. He was successful in St. Louis, and they don't like John Mozeliak, and Mozeliak is why Shilt's gone.
Here we go. There's a letter from Mike Shildt on why he is retiring. Quote, "It is with a heavy but full heart that I am announcing my retirement from managing the San Diego Padres. It is a decision that I thought about during the season and became at peace with over the last 10 days. I gave every fiber of my being to help achieve Peter Seidler's vision of bringing in a World Series championship to San Diego. We fell short of the ultimate goal, but I'm proud of the players, staff, and organization we were able to accomplish the last 2 seasons. The grind of the baseball season has taken a severe toll on me mentally, physically, and emotionally. While it has always been about serving others, it's time to take care of myself and exit on my terms. I'm extremely grateful to the Padres, the Seidler family, Eric Gruppen, AJ Preller, and the staff for their trust and confidence in leading this team. I'm confident I left things in a better place. However, I'm most grateful to our players. San Diego is rightfully proud of the Padres players. It is a group that conducts themselves with class and is dedicated to one another for the common goal of winning the World Series. I love our players and will miss them dearly. After 34 years of dedicating myself to the rigors of coaching and managing, I can, with great enjoyment, look back on my achievement of my 2 primary goals: to help players get the most out of their God-given ability and to become better men. Also, to win games. I move forward with a smile on my face, contentment in my soul, and genuine excitement for what God has next. To the Friar faithful, thanks for always supporting and keeping it rocking at Petco Park. It's the best home field advantage in Major League Baseball. The team is on its way to a World Series championship that you so deserve. Respectfully, Shilty."
To the question that you asked, does this change Cardinals' minds? I think the Cardinals fans are still like, why did the Cardinals let this guy go? But that's back-to-back teams now in the middle of being successful that Mike Shildt is not with them anymore. And you could call it a retirement all you want. Back-to-back postseasons and nothing to show for it. Something, and I'm not speculating here, or I am speculating here, something with Mike Shildt and getting to that next level, Major League Baseball teams just don't see a connection.
Or he's tough to work with.
Kind of coincide with each other.
And I think part of this could very well be like, he is way too intense, man. And again, I go back to, I want to make this very clear because I know that we have, I know that we have a little bit of a history here. Like, I think Mike Shildt is a good manager. I do. I think that Mike Shildt being in the dugout makes you a better team for most teams in Major League Baseball. But managing as intensely as Mike Shildt does for 162, it grinds on people inside of the organization. And when you operate that way, I'm guessing, especially based on this letter, it grinds on him. It's tough to operate that way just as a human being. It's not healthy to operate that way. So if this is true that he needed to get his health in order, good for him, man. Good for him for putting himself first, because the stresses that come with being a Major League Baseball manager are tough. I do wonder this. If you're Skip Schumacher, he has not signed with the Texas Rangers yet, right?
There's
I was saying the Rangers put the
they had the press
post out.
conference.
Do you think he has regrets about that right now?
Yeah.
If you're John
he could
Jay,
go home.
if you're John Jay, do you put yourself into that conversation?
I don't think Jay will get hired for the head coaching job yet. I don't think he's there just yet. But
I'm
I'm
very curious
Schumacher.
to see what direction they go.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll try. I don't think they will because Preller's Preller's got to be tough to work with.
Instead.
If I'm Albert, I'd want this one over the Angels.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if they would consider a reunion with Bochy, because Bochy would be a name that I would think that you would consider.
They need a guy that's ready to win because they're in their winning window right now. Man, this is a really interesting one. All right, Alex, T-Bone, I'm BK. We went a little long here. Do apologize for that. But coming up next, we'll talk a little bit about the Blues. Is Jake Neighbours playing his way into the Blues top line conversation? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends over at Classic Air Care, a company that has been making people comfortable since 1926. And now that we're in this perfect weather outside to where you could just turn everything off and open up the windows, it's going to start getting colder. It's colder in the evening, so you're turning that furnace on. And if you want to make sure that that furnace and your HVAC system in general can handle all of this new work that it's going to be going through, if you've got an older unit or maybe you got a newer one, but you just want to make sure you can get the most out of it at this time of the year, that's where the annual maintenance care comes into play over at Classic Air Care. It's the best way to avoid breakdown, so you can schedule with Classic Air Care for a tune-up. And what goes into that maintenance agreement is twice a year they come out, the fall, the spring, they'll check the unit, they'll clean the unit, they'll make sure that everything's good to go. And if issues pop up throughout that year, you get the priority scheduling with the maintenance agreement. I've been using it since 2016, and it's one of the best things to have. If you've got a question or concern, you call them up, you get the answer right away. And that's the other thing. Quick customer service, quick response. They've got 100 vans on the road, which means they can get back to you within 24 hours, and they do electrical work. So give Classic Air Care a call today. Schedule online. Get the best customer service and the most knowledgeable technicians when it comes to your HVAC system. It's Classic Air Care and ClassicAirCare.com.
Neighbours to the goal. Shoots. Score! The Blues are on the board. The game is tied. And the hometown kid, Jake Neighbours, has the Blues square. Parayko score! Colton Parayko on a slap shot. That puck was deflected right in front of the net. It might have been Jake with his second of the game. It was. And the Blues have taken a 3-2 lead.
A heartwarming homecoming for Jake Neighbours in Calgary, as that is what it sounded like over the weekend, right here in your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. Chris Kerber on the call with Alex and T-Bone on BK. Alex, Jake Neighbours goes home where he dealt with a heavy heart over the weekend. His friend passed away prior to the start of the Blues season. He had missed some of training camp early on because of that. So for him to be able to go home, have that kind of a performance in front of his friends and family. I know he spoke to it afterwards. That meant a ton to him. I can't imagine what that was like to play there. I want to focus a little bit on the hockey side of things here. I know on the human level, like, God, you just feel good for the guy. That was awesome. On the hockey side of things, though, I find what's going on with the Blues top line to be really interesting. I'm not calling it a problem. I just find it to be really interesting. They start these games with Jimmy Snuggerud up there with Thomas and Buchnevich. And by the middle of the second period, in each of the first two games, they've needed a bit of a jump on that top line, and they bump up Jake Neighbours. Alex, part of this is because the top line isn't getting enough jump with Snuggerud up there. But part of it is also because Jake Neighbours has just been playing at such a high level early on the season that you need to get him more opportunities. And he ends up giving you the 2 goals in this game on Saturday. What did you make of that, and what have you made of their top-line performance so far this season?
Yeah. To me, I don't think this has anything to do with the way Jimmy Snuggerud's playing. I don't think he's playing poorly. I think this has everything to do with how the team is starting off hockey games. I mean, in that game against Calgary, there were 6 penalties in the first 12 minutes of that game. You can't get any flow going, and you're talking about power plays and penalty kills that are playing, so you're juggling up lines. Minnesota, I think there were 3 penalties called in the first 5 or 6 minutes of that hockey game. So some of this is explainable to the sense that, look, they're juggling up lines. It's hard to get chemistry at even strength. The other thing with this, too, is I think Jake Neighbours is just playing at an elite level right now. Like Jim Montgomery said it after the Minnesota game. He's like, he was the one that was just, he was out there pacing everybody. He was just on it. And so we wanted to get him more ice time because of all that power play. Montgomery has said this before. If you're playing well, you're going to get more ice time. And so Jimmy Snuggerud's just the guy that dips down from that top line, moves down to the third, and they hope to get some more offensive opportunities. But again, I don't think this has anything to do with the way Snuggerud's playing and he's not living up to expectations. I just think, 1, you got Jake Neighbours who's playing well. 2, you have 0 opportunity to get your even strength play going. And if you don't have that, well, then you got to put somebody up there who's just a jolt of electricity for your lines. And I looked at this with Jake Neighbours as like, cool, if he's on this type of play where he's just all around the net, he's got a shot right now, he goes 5-hole on the goaltender on a goal scorer's goal. I mean, that to me, like, why wouldn't you, if you got a Zach Hyman on your team, why wouldn't you put a power forward up with your number 1 centerman if he's going to be around the net? So I'm not concerned at all with Snuggerud. I would expect tonight against Vancouver, it's going to be the exact same line combination. And Jim Montgomery, who's got versatility with all of his forwards, in the middle of it, can get Vancouver off of their game and say, here goes Jake Neighbours.
I don't care who plays on the top line. I care that the top line produces. And if the top line can produce with Jake Neighbours on the ice, great. Jake Neighbours is a good player, man. We've talked about this in the past. Do I think he's a bit limited? Maybe. But if I was expecting this season 25-ish goals, maybe like 50 points out of Jimmy Snuggerud, if you can get that out of Jake Neighbours and you just get it in a slightly different way, that's not a problem.
No.
And if Jimmy Snuggerud ends up being your third-line winger for most of the season and helps you on the power play, and that's where you're able to take advantage of his shot the most, and he just gets his feet wet this year, and he's an overqualified third-line winger, that's not the end of the world. My concern was coming into the season, and we talked about this with some of our intrusive thoughts going into the year, if Jake Neighbours isn't that and Jimmy Snuggerud isn't that, do you just not have a top line? Do you not have a traditional winger or 2 that can take advantage of the gifts that Robert Thomas brings to the table? And now you have to break up that second line in order to consolidate for what you don't have up there. That was my concern. But if Jake Neighbours is playing out of his mind for the next, month, 2 months, 3 months, full season, however long this ends up being, that's not inherently a bad thing.
The thing about that top line, when it's Buchnevich, Thomas, and Snuggerud, you don't have a net front presence on that line because Buchnevich just isn't a guy that goes to the front of the net very much. He's kind of in and around. He's a playmaker, kind of like Robert Thomas is. We know Jimmy Snuggerud's a guy that loves to shoot the puck and can pass. If you've got a line that just three guys that like to pass and look for that creative opportunity, well, then all you're doing is what you did against the Minnesota Wild, where you're taking shots from the outside and it's not going to the front. It's why you break up Neighbours and Pius Suter, because both guys love to go around the net. And so why not put two shooters with a Pius Suter who could drive play north and then go to the net and let Texier and Snuggerud do some work around it? The one thing that I'd like to see, which, again, I'm not in the business of juggling up lines right now. That's Jim Montgomery's job, and it's early on, so I'm not worried. But, man, why not try a line of Neighbours, Thomas, and Snuggerud? To where you've got your shooter, you've got your playmaker, you've got your net front presence.
Oh, I think some of this is, though, about Jimmy Snuggerud. I mean, if you just look at the time on ice, and I'm just talking about even strength from Saturday, they did not play him very much. Yep. And that's not just about Jake Neighbours. Like, Jake Neighbours played 11 and a half minutes in this game, and that's despite the fact that he started out the game playing on the third line. For context, Jimmy Snuggerud played 6:57. The only players in the game on Saturday that played less even strength time on ice than Jimmy Snuggerud were Matthew Joseph, Nick Bukestad, Alex Texier. That's it.
Yeah, it shortened the bench.
And Snuggerud was a part of that. Mm-hmm. So that is noteworthy, man. This is not just about Neighbours, who has been performing well enough to earn those opportunities on the top line. It is also about Snuggie not yet playing up to what we saw from him at the end of last season. That's understandable. It's his first year of full season in the NHL. But they're going to need more out of him as this thing goes along. They're going to need him to be more than just a power play specialist. But for right now, Jake Neighbours stepping up is a huge piece for the puzzle. They need him to continue performing this way if that top line is going to be able to live up to expectations in 2025. All right, alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. In 15 minutes, we'll get into questions and answers. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. Coming up next, we got to dive into some NFL quick hitters here on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario here for Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, the real deal for real deals since 1976. And if you need new tires, today is the final day where you could buy 3 tires and get 1 free on Cooper tires only. So make sure you call Dobbs' team of 600-plus tire technicians and auto service associates care for your family vehicles. Whatever you drive, gas, hybrid, all of it is taken care of over at Dobbs. And they've got locations all over town, so they'll help you choose the tires that you need, already sold at the lowest prices in town, guaranteed. So check it out. It will match your family's budget. Dobbs' Money Saver deals on new tires over at gotodobbs.com. And the team is ready to service your vehicle, including routines, preventive maintenance, and complex diagnostics and engineer repairs. Again, the most locations around, including their newest store in Washington, Missouri, and there's a few more to be added soon. Full service tire and auto service has never been more convenient. So let the tire and service pros at Dobbs take care of your family vehicles. That's gotodobbs.com. Dobbs, the real deal for real deals since 1976.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues took down the Calgary Flames over the weekend, and they will be back in action tonight as they continue their West Coast trip as they go to the Vancouver Canucks. Well, pregame coverage starting at 5:30 with Alex Ferrario, then puck drop at 6:30 with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. News out of Major League Baseball, San Diego Padres manager Mike Shildt announces that he is retiring, and tonight there will be the NLCS, which will have its first pitch at 7 o'clock between the Dodgers and the Brewers, and the Mariners take on the Toronto Blue Jays as Seattle has a 1-0 lead in that series. The Sports Center update was drawn by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. SEMALondoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Let's dive into some NFL quick hitters. You guys want to start with the Sunday Night Football game, or should we start elsewhere? Your choice.
Hey, you got a smirk on your face. I've got Rashee Rice in both of my fantasy football leagues, so let's talk some Chiefs.
Let's just be honest. The ALCS game 1 was better than the Sunday night game.
That's fine.
So not true.
Sunday Night Football was fun because the Chiefs are fun again. They know how to play offense.
Yeah, it was a competitive game, let's be honest. And then Juju Smith-Schuster got slapped in the face.
That was wild.
That was very fun.
What are you doing, Brian Branch?
He doesn't.
More importantly, that's your reaction, Juju? Like, he went down like Mike Tyson just right hooked him.
He knew what he was doing. He was trying to draw a suspension. That's what he was trying to do.
He dropped like, oh!
Yeah, he was TikToking it up, that's for sure. We'll spend a second on this. I loved the reaction afterwards from Dan Campbell.
I did too.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but he basically said, listen, I love Brian Branch. That's not what we do here.
That was a great leader.
That's not the way that we represent ourselves. That is not the way that Lions football should be played, blah, blah, blah. I loved it. He's a really good football coach. I really like this Lions team, man. They were playing down a few men yesterday.
Did I see this right? They're without 5 of their 6 cornerbacks that they came into the season with. At the top of their depth chart?
But in their secondary by the end of the game, they were missing 3 of their 4 starters. And the one guy that was playing was Brian Branch, and he came into the game hurt.
Yeah. That's so. Yeah.
They are not at full strength on the defensive side of the ball right now. Offensively, though, I know they're without their left tackle. So were the Chiefs last night, for what it's worth. That was not a good game plan. They tried running way too often. I know early on they were talking about how the running game was working for them. It really wasn't. They had a couple of good runs, but it was not successful by and large. And then they just kept trying to run it when their passing game, especially across the middle, is what was working early on. It was a really weird game plan, especially in the second half by the Lions. But regardless, my biggest takeaway yesterday was the biggest takeaway that I had from last week. Chiefs are back, boys. This offense is really good. It's the first time they have scored 28 or more points in 3 straight games since the 2021 season. It's been a minute since we've been able to talk about the Chiefs offense this way, but you guys know where I stand. Yeah. I got laughed at last week because I said this. Where do you guys stand on the Chiefs today?
I mean, they lost to the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, so understandably we laughed at you there. Real quick on that bad play decision by Dan Campbell. He said going into the game that they need to score 30 points to win.
I agree.
And your plan is to just run the ball as heavy as you did. So that's the part that I'm with you. I didn't understand. I mean, look, the Chiefs offense, I was concerned at the beginning of the season, but then it's like they're going to get Rashee Rice back and they're going to get Worthy back. And that's the 2 guys that make that offense go. My bigger concern was on the defensive side for the Chiefs. And they're starting to figure it out a little bit here, but Spagnuolo seems to always get that righted at some point for them. But yeah, I mean, right now, their biggest flaw still is they just don't have a running game because Pacheco just has not been the guy that.
I thought he was fine yesterday.
I thought he was fine, but they don't have that.
I think their bigger issue is their defensive line. I don't think they get a pass rush. I think their running game's actually played pretty well the last couple of weeks.
I don't like Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. I just don't feel like it opens it up as much as they've done in the past. But again, does it matter when you've got Rashee Rice back and Mahomes is doing what he does right now? But I'm with you. Defensively, they've got a problem. But again, every time I could doubt the Chiefs there, Spagnuolo seems to fix it and have the answers.
And I look across the AFC, everybody's got issues.
Yeah.
The Bills can't stop anybody. And I think they're the best team in the AFC. The Colts are good, but I mean, they're playing close games against the Arizona Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett down their top 2 running backs and down their top receiver by the end of the game. And we're going to get into January. I'm not going to trust Daniel Jones. I'm just not. I'm not going to trust that team. Jaguars are interesting.
I don't trust Trevor Lawrence.
He lost yesterday. So the Denver Broncos are playing a one-score game against a Jets team that's doing everything that they can to possibly lose right now. The Chiefs, in my opinion, right now are the best team in the AFC again. It's them and the Bills. Like, you can take the Bills, and that's totally fair. I understand it. I trust the Chiefs more, and I think they have a better defense than what the Bills do right now. So I know what the record says, and so this sounds laughable when I say the 3-3 team in the AFC is the best in the conference. If I'm projecting forward right now, I think that's the best team that the AFC has to offer right now.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think you're probably right because I hate watching the Chiefs. But I think you're spot on. Look, they did what we said to do going into this first 6-game stretch without Rashee Rice. You just got to be at about 500 and survive through it. And that's exactly what they did. They've gotten better since they've gotten Worthy back. The offense looks more explosive. I kind of agree with you. Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, it is not sexy, but it keeps them ahead of the sticks. And that is what is most important about their running game. Defensively, they've got questions, but again, I would lean on Spags to figure it out. I think they probably are the best team in the AFC once again.
All right, let's get into a few other things from the NFL weekend. We'll do these kind of quick hitter style. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now are the blank best team in the NFC.
Best team in the NFC.
The first best?
Mm-hmm. Or just the best.
Sure.
I mean, the Eagles, as much as I can sit here and say, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite because I do think they'll turn it on in the playoffs, but you said blank team right now in the NFL or in the NFC. Baker Mayfield should be the MVP this year. If he's not the MVP, unless like something drastic happens the rest of the way, I mean, he was down Evans, Godwin, Igbuka, Bucky Irving, and I think the fourth guy on their wide receiver depth chart was not playing in that game yesterday either, and he still found a way to will that team to victory. So I don't see another team in the NFC that's better than them because as of right now, the Eagles got issues.
I'm going to go, this is going to sound wild, I'm going to go fourth.
Wow. Okay. Give me your.
I don't think
if you have the Rams above them, you're smoking something.
I don't think they're better than the Rams still. I don't think they're better than the Packers, and I don't think they're better than the Lions. The Lions lost last night, as we just explained, was they were dealing with a lot of injuries. Look, they're just a plus 14 differential. I give Baker Mayfield credit. He's playing well. He's going to get even better as his weapons come back. I don't know about the defense. So I say they are the fourth best team in the NFC.
I would go third. I think the Packers are better, and right now I would still take the Rams over them as well.
You guys are crazy.
This is me projecting forward. Like, into the season, who am I taking in a playoff game? I would take the Rams over them. I trust them a little bit more. And you guys know how much I love the Green Bay Packers. Bucks are fun, though, man. They're my favorite team to watch in the NFL this year.
I would agree with that.
Baker, to me, if you were doing an MVP conversation today, it's too early to do so, but I would probably have him at or near the top of the list. He is so much fun to watch, and the style that he plays with is just, it's awesome, man. So, love watching them. I think they're more watchable than they are a great team, necessarily, but they're a hell of a lot of fun to watch. Drake May is a top blank quarterback in the NFL right now. He looked great this weekend, man.
I'd say top 10. I don't think I could put him in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, I would go top 10 as well, just because I'm having a tough time kind of separating him. He's definitely not top 5 for me, but he kind of falls in that like log jam of like 6 through 10 for me.
So we're not taking him over Mahomes. No. We're not taking him over Josh Allen. Mm-mm. I would assume even despite the injury and stuff, like Lamar. You're not taking him over Lamar.
Nope.
Stafford?
Nope.
I wouldn't take him over Stafford.
Who else are you throwing into this mix?
I mean, for how he's playing right now, I don't think I'd take him over Dak. In the regular season, I don't think I would take him over Dak.
I wouldn't take it over Baker right now.
No, I wouldn't take him over Baker.
Playing at an MVP level. I wouldn't take him over Jordan Love.
That one,
I think Love's played up to about the same caliber.
I'd take him over.
I would take him over Jordan Love.
On the Packers, I would feel better about the Packers.
This is where I'm saying, like, he falls in this 7 to like 10 muddy middle for me, or if you call that the middle, but like him, Jared Goff, those two are kind of in that same conversation for me.
I'd take May over those guys.
I would take May over both of them.
Darnold is playing really well this year.
No, I'm not falling for it.
I know, but he's played so well this year. Daniel Jones has played extremely well. I agree. Top 10. Top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now is where Drake May currently stands. It's so annoying. The Patriots went like 2 years without having a quarterback, and now they've got their franchise guy once again. You guys know how much I loved Drake May going into that draft, and I said all along, like, I think this guy's going to be a stud. I said last year, I think this guy's going to be a stud. Him, Jaden Daniels, They figured it out quicker than anybody could have possibly expected. So good on them. Patriots are going to be interesting this year. I don't know if they're going to be able to get into the playoffs, but at 4-2, they're well within their way. And you look at their schedule coming up, guys, listen to this. They've got a real shot here. Tennessee, I'm going to skip a couple of games, but Tennessee, Cleveland, Atlanta, the Jets, the Bengals, and the Giants. That's 6 very winnable games in their next 7 games. The only game that I skipped was at Tampa Bay. If you win like 5 of them, you're at 9-4 going into your bye week. Whew.
It may only take 9 wins to get into the
Talking
playoffs.
about a real potential playoff team in the New England Patriots this year.
Mike Vrabel does it again.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. We'll get to questions and answers coming up next. All right, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in right there or on the YouTube page at youtube.com/101ESPNSTL. From the 314, guys, we need a final verdict on how to handle the bottom-tier SEC programs. I've been told that Ole Miss and Tennessee beating Arkansas at home by 1 score is considered to be a tough, quality SEC win, but Notre Dame winning by 43 on the road is, quote, not a quality win, end quote. So what's true? This is something that I was thinking about over the weekend as I saw Ole Miss struggle to beat Washington State. It was like, all right, so how is that one going to work into the SEC narrative? Because as I see, a close game between Arkansas and Tennessee, that's a good win for Tennessee because you went up against a solid SEC opponent and you found a way to get the victory, right? But does Ole Miss get the same credit for beating Washington State, who's terrible this season? I don't know. How do you guys feel? Is the SEC getting too much credit this season?
I think they're getting a little too much credit because I think these bottom-tier teams like Arkansas should be blown out the way Notre Dame handled them because they're just not that good a football program, right? They belong in, like, the UNC / pick your favorite worst Big Ten program. And you should go on the road, even if it is on the road, and beat up those teams. The reason I say it's getting a little too much credit is because I think it goes to continue to show there's not a great SEC football team. They're all pretty good, but they've also all got flaws. Mm-hmm. And that's why these teams like Arkansas can hang around with Tennessee, which was in my pick, but I didn't take it. But I said it at the time, Tennessee can't stop anyone. And that was their problem in that game against Arkansas. They couldn't get stopped. So I think the SEC, it has the right proper teams in the top 25, but I think it's getting a little too much credit because the reaction seems to feel as if there are, hey, these teams can compete for a championship in the college football playoff. Maybe, but they're too flawed that I think the elite teams in the Big Ten would beat them.
But we're only really talking about 2 teams in the Big Ten, right?
I was going to say.
It's really just Ohio State and Indiana. They pulled away, in my opinion, from the pack.
That's fair. I still think Oregon belongs in that conversation, but I get it that you're going with those two.
Oregon also had to go to overtime against a Penn State team that since then has lost on the road at UCLA and then lost this past weekend at home against Northwestern. So if we're going to criticize the SEC for having these close games against bad teams, I've got to do the exact same thing.
To be fair, though, that game actually meant something to Penn State. The next 2 didn't after you lost to Oregon.
Well, it did. I mean, they still had their college football playoff.
They all checked out at that point, though.
Clearly. And so that's a mark against them, and it's a mark against the Big Ten. But Oregon had a really close game against them, and now they've gone on to lose a game. So I don't think I can have Oregon in that same conversation at this point in time. I think there are 2 elite teams in college football this year. I think it's Ohio State and it's Indiana. If you want to throw Miami into that mix as well, go for it. That's fair. I don't trust their coach in a big situation once we get to the end of the season. I agree with you, though, T-Bone. I think the top of the SEC is not as good as it has been in the past. I also think the bottom is better than it has been in the past. And so you consolidate all of this power closer to the middle. This is what you get. And I think this is what the future of college football is going to look like. It's kind of like the NFL, where on any given weekend, basically if you're not named the Tennessee Titans, you can win. And that means that a lot of these games are going to be very close, especially when you get like the 3rd best team in the SEC versus the 10th. The spreads in these games are a touchdown or less almost every weekend. I mean, you saw it this weekend, right? Texas. We'll talk about this later today, but they just lost on the road at Florida. And then in a neutral site game against Oklahoma, they looked like the clearly better team on that Saturday. Georgia, I know what the final score indicates. That game was really close this weekend on the road against Auburn. So all of these games are close right now in the SEC. I think it's because all of these teams are really close in terms of their overall quality.
Yeah, I don't think you can, I think when you tier it off in the SEC, what would you say? You have 3 teams at the top, 2 teams in one tier of their own in terms of Alabama and Ole Miss?
I think it's, to me, just Alabama. I think you can. I would probably have Texas A&M up there before Ole Miss, personally.
Okay. But then after that, I think you could put the rest of the SEC in that next tier.
Yeah, I'd go Bama and Texas A&M as my top 2, and then probably Ole Miss, Georgia, LSU as my next tier. And then after that, Tennessee, Mizzou, Texas, Oklahoma, Vandy. All of them kind of in
But
that
again,
next
I think
tier.
you could do that with the Big Ten also, like we mentioned. You have Ohio State and Indiana in that tier, and then you go to the next one, and you're putting Oregon in there. And so
And then after that, it's USC and Illinois. Here's the thing, though. And T-Bone, I know you're probably going to disagree with what I'm about to say. I would have Indiana and Ohio State ahead of anybody in the SEC right now, personally. But then I would probably take A&M and Alabama over Oregon, and then I'd put Oregon in there. And then I would take 10 more teams from the SEC before I get to Illinois and USC. That's where I think the difference is between those two conferences. It's not that the SEC is better than the Big Ten. It's that the depth is better than what the Big Ten is. I thought the opposite was true last year. This year, I think that the SEC is quite a bit deeper than the Big Ten is.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that at all. I think there's only 5 teams in the SEC that I would rank below Illinois, USC, and maybe Nebraska. I'm not sure how real they are. And that is Mississippi State, Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, South Carolina. I would even put Florida ahead of them. Their defense is so freaking good that they could beat Illinois. Let's be honest.
All right, from the 573, guys, do you think the Marvin Burks hit on Saturday in the Missouri game was actually a targeting or no? I do not. I think if you want to penalize that game for a defenseless receiver, I'm not sure what the defender is supposed to do there, but I understand we're trying to legislate that hit out of the game. So if you want to call it an unnecessary roughness, fine. I would disagree with that as well, but whatever. It is what it is. That's the way the football has gone. I see no scenario in which that's targeting. Getting thrown out for that hit where you're leading with your shoulder on a guy coming across the middle, when I don't really know what the defender is supposed to do in that spot, if not that exact play, we're trying to make a play on the ball, I thought that was a horrible call. It didn't lose Mizzou the game. They had every opportunity to still win it, so I'm not blaming that for why they lost. But yes, I thought it was the wrong call in that spot.
That was my thought as well when I saw it. It's like, man, I get that it looks like a nasty hit, but essentially what they're saying the rule is you can't touch that receiver once he catches that football.
More or less.
And I don't understand that because obviously the defender's job is to make sure he doesn't go any further with that catch. And you're trying to keep him from holding onto that football. So I thought the same thing. It's like, man, I don't know if I would have kicked him out of the game. I can understand penalizing him for it, but again, what are you supposed to do if you're the defender in that spot? Don't touch him and just wait till he lands?
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't have called it targeting. I thought the SEC as a whole this weekend had a bad week for the officials. That Auburn-Georgia game, oh, my God. That was brutal.
Yeah, and Auburn, if you're an Auburn fan, 2 games now.
Brutal.
All right, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. A couple of quick ones here from the manager, Lou Brown. BK, do you believe in the Brewers now? Nope. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line from Harrison's brother, Master. Alex, what's up with Kyrou? 0 points through the first couple of games.
Seriously.
It's 2 games.
So,
Can we relax here a little bit? I think he had 8 shot attempts in that first one against Minnesota. We'll say, I mean, in the past, he's been a slow starter out of the gate, so it's not anything uncommon.
I think he's going to be just fine.
It's 2 games. Look at the hockey DP page, hockey reference page. Always turns out somewhere between 35 and 37 goals. So
what about his plus minus?
Well, he hasn't been a minus significantly for 2 years, so calm down over there, you Kyrou hater.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll play a game of in or out. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are in or out here on BK and Ferrario. But next, how much criticism is fair for Mizzou's play calling in their loss against Alabama? We'll get into it next here on 101 ESPN. game was so frustrating, man. The more I think about it, the more frustrated I get. Missouri loses at home, 27-24 against Alabama, alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK.
James Franklin's available. I've heard he wins the big games.
Yeah. So, Alex, one of the big criticisms coming out of that game, we've gotten into a bunch of them. If you missed our open, we talked about the fourth down decisions. We've talked about the onside kick. We got into all of it. And one of the things that has been out there as a criticism of Mizzou in this game was getting away from the run and not leaning heavily enough on Ahmad Hardy, who finished the game with, 12 carries overall? Yep. How fair do you think it is, Alex, in your opinion, to criticize Mizzou's play calling for that loss?
I mean, to me, it's fair because when you got a guy who leads the SEC in rushing and he touches the ball 12 times and only gets 52 yards, I mean, that should be the game plan if you're Mizzou in terms of using and utilizing Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts. Now, where I feel like it went a little too far was people reacting in the fourth quarter, acting as if Ahmad Hardy, they need the run game. When you were down by as much as Mizzou was down, I understand you have to throw the football because not a lot of time, and you got to find a way to get back into this football game. But 12 carries for Ahmad Hardy, it doesn't look appealing. Like Bo Prabula ran as much as Ahmad Hardy ran in that football game. So I think some of the criticism is worthy, but I think it's gotten a little too out of hand to sit here and act like it's the sole reason why they lost that football game.
I think it's somewhat fair, but I kind of agree with you. When you look back at their last couple of drives, they were almost in they have to throw the football scenarios. So I'm not going to blame Mizzou when they're down 10, they get the ball back late in the fourth quarter that, why are they not running the ball with Hardy? No, they shouldn't be running the ball with Hardy, right? The clock is their worst enemy. They don't have time to be doing potential 5-yard runs and then get to the line of scrimmage and keep going. They had to put the ball in Prabula's hands. I think it's somewhat fair, but I don't know that was the number one driving reason as to why they lost that football game.
I think that it is completely overblown, except for on one play call. And if we're talking about one play call determining the win or the loss in a game, I just think we're overstating things. I think that game came down to what T-Bone said at the very beginning of the show. You tried to throw it with Bo Prabula, and he couldn't come up with a play. Ty Simpson, I'm sure there are Bama fans today that are probably critical of some element of that game play calling wise. I don't know what it is because I don't cover their team the way that we do here locally with Mizzou, but I'm sure they're frustrated with something related to that game. And you can't boil it down to one play call. You can't boil it down to any one decision. It's not just on the onside kick. It's not just on the fake punt. It's not just on the 2 interceptions by Bo Prabula. It's not just on the fact that on 1st and 10, after Alabama misses that field goal, you get the ball back 9 minutes left to play and you pass on 1st down and he gets sacked and that puts you into an obvious passing situation. It's not just on any one of those situations. It's on all of it. It's the fact that you weren't able to stay away from getting that stupid penalty in the first quarter where you end up with a 3rd and I think it was 15. But instead of that, you've got a defensive end that's so overly hyped up that he stands over the player and it gets called 100 times out of 100 that it's going to be a taunting penalty. And instead of 3rd and 15, now you've got 1st and 10 for Alabama. It's all of these things adding up over time. Any one of those individual moments, if they went in the other direction, maybe the game is different. But none of them did. And so instead, you've got all of that and Ty Simpson making that crazy 4th and 8 play. And on 3rd and I think it was 17 or 23, whatever it was, they're able to gain the 15 yards to put them into position to even go for it on 4th and 8. And then at the goal line, they have a 4th and goal from the 5-yard line. They're able to hit that pass to their running back. All of this stuff adds up over time. That's what leads to the loss. And what's so frustrating, man, is eventually Missouri has to break through in these games. I was just looking this up because I wanted to see SEC teams in conference games that play this kind of a game at home. So you're a top 25 program. You're going up against a top 15 SEC opponent at home. Who are the programs that win these games? It's not going to surprise you. I'm going back to 2021. Bama's 4-0 in those games at home. Top 25 team, top 25 ranked team, going up against a top 15 SEC opponent. Georgia 6-0. Ole Miss 6-1, surprisingly enough, in these spots.
I'm surprised by that.
I am too. They have won games in this scenario against Arkansas, okay, Kentucky, okay,
Oh, never mind. I'm not surprised.
LSU, Texas A&M, and Georgia. The one loss that they had in this scenario was 2022 in a very similar spot. They were ranked 11th. Alabama was ranked 10th. They lose 30-24 at home in that one. Very similar situation to where Missouri was at in this one. LSU's 2-2, and then you look into the peer programs for Mizzou. Arkansas 0-1, Florida 0-1, Oklahoma 0-1, Tennessee 2-2. Their win was against Bama. They did it twice. Texas 0-1. Texas A&M 3-1 in these spots. Vandy, one opportunity to do so. It was last year at home against Texas. Nearly pulled it off. Couldn't do it. Couldn't break through. That's how Missouri feels right now. They feel like they're a program that is so close to being able to break through. They're so close, man. They're right on the doorstep. And they just can't get it done. And that's what's so frustrating about the loss on Saturday. You had your chance. You had a marquee program on the ropes. They were not playing an A game, talking about Alabama. You had every chance to be able to go up against them and get that signature victory for Eli Drinkwitz at Mizzou, and you couldn't break that door down. And that's what's so frustrating today, and it's why I'm so bummed out and just so disappointed that they weren't able to do it, because now you go on the road, man, and you have no margin for error. You have got to win on Saturday. If you lose this game at Auburn, basically everything that you hoped was on the table is off. You cannot allow this one loss to become two. And then after that, if you beat Auburn, all right, now all you got to do is go on the road and beat a top 15 Vandy program, potentially. All right, you did that, cool. Bye week, and then come back home and beat a top 5 ranked Texas A&M team. You do that, great. Now down the stretch, you've got an opportunity on the road to beat a top 15 ranked Oklahoma team. Everything was there for you. You had a little margin for error, and now it's gone.
Yep. And that's what it feels like it always happens with Mizzou at some point. Now, this one, I mean, you still lost to Alabama by 3 points. And I know that doesn't mean much to a lot of people because it's a loss, but it's a 3-point loss to Alabama. But it just feels like there's the one game that takes away that forgiveness that Mizzou potentially could have in the season, and now you've got to win out the rest of the way. And that's the part that gets frustrating if you're a Mizzou fan. It's because it's like, now you have to be perfect the rest of the way to be considered a successful year, where in all intents and purposes, at the end of it, you'll look back and say, man, what a season it was. But it's that one hiccup that it's like, yeah, but this could have been a special season. And that's the difference for Mizzou every year.
And I'm sure this one stings more for Mizzou fans because, last year you end up as a team that had expectations coming into it, right? And then you lay 2 eggs on the road, and it's like, oh, man, we missed the playoffs. There weren't the same expectations coming into this year of playoff or bust, essentially. It was kind of, hey, it's kind of a rebuild. We'll see what we have. You hope that you end up being like a 9-win team. Maybe you get a game that surprises you, and then you can get back into that playoff conversation. Well, they did everything that you wanted to up until the Alabama game, to where they got all the hype. Hardy's been so impressive. It felt like the team that could do it. And Bama, as you said, is not the Alabama of old that came rolling into town. And you had them on the ropes, and you still can't find a way to get through.
What made it frustrating, T-Bone, is that, last year you weren't in these games. You weren't even close. You got mollywopped. You go down to Texas A&M and get destroyed. Not once did it feel like they were in that game. They got that weird penalty on the first touchdown, and then they were done. The entire rest of the game, it was just over basically before it ever really began. This one, not only were you in it, you had every chance to be able to win. That's what made it more frustrating to me. T-Bone, on the Illinois side of things on Saturday, they got boa constricted by the Ohio State Buckeyes defense. I mean, it was turnover, setting up, short fields. I think they had 3 different, talking about Ohio State, 3 different scoring drives that traveled fewer than 35 yards. A couple of those were touchdowns. And when you give them that kind of a short field, you're not going to be able to come up with the upset. I don't think Illinois necessarily played a bad game. I think that game told us more about Ohio State than it did Illinois. And Ohio State's great. They're one of the very few truly great teams that we have this year. And they didn't even have to do much offensively. I think they had 300 total yards of offense in the game against Illinois. But again, that's because they had so many short drives. Illinois just couldn't get enough done offensively. Yeah, it was frustrating because Illinois outgained them in that football game. They even held them to under 300 total yards of offense. 272 is what the number was. And you watched it, and at no point did the game actually feel that close.
if you were just looking at it from like the score perspective. But if you were watching the game, you go, man, Illinois' like defense is holding up a lot better than what I thought it was going into that game. But you're right. It was they shot themselves in the foot, and they did so consistently. And Altmaier wasn't himself at the very beginning of the game. He was a little bit off. The interception that he throws in the first quarter that leads to an Ohio State touchdown is a ball that's just a little bit behind his receiver, but it's a little bit enough to where it gets deflected in the air and it gets picked off. You have a low snap to where your punter puts his knee down to help him catch the ball, and then he's down because that's the rule in college football. So then you just shorten the field for him again. You have a fumble that's like a little bit unfortunate because Valentine gets completely like bent the wrong direction, and he's clearly injured, and then he just drops the football in pain. Like, it's all these little things to where, like, when you're playing against like Maryland in the Big Ten, or you're playing against like Duke when you're in your non-con schedule, you can get away with those little things. When you're going up against the best team in the country with that good of a defense, that can't happen. You can't shoot yourself in the foot. The fact that they got 16 points by itself was impressive that they're able to do that. It was frustrating because it felt like they should have had a chance to win that football, not win it, but at least keep it a little bit closer in that football game, kind of like how Mizzou was in it with Alabama. And they never were there because they just kept shooting themselves in the foot.
Alongside Tanner Hendrickson and Alex Ferrario, I'm Brandon Kiley. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. I was just looking at the AP poll to see where Illinois came in this week. I didn't see them.
They're not in the top
It's a little ridiculous. Look, as we know, the AP poll sucks. I mean, it's ridiculous that they're not in the top 25 still.
Illinois kind of sucks.
Notre Dame's got 2 losses to 2 great teams, and they're still in it. Our 2 losses are Indiana and Ohio State.
Notre Dame get their butts kicked to 53?
They're close losses.
They still belong in the top 25.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They're better than Nebraska. Okay, let's calm down with the Matt Rule thing.
Okay.
I think they're
coming
out
up
of the
next,
25.
in or out here on BK and Ferrario. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for in or out. You give us a scenario, we will tell you if we are in or out here on BK and Ferrario. All right, boys, let's start out with this. In or out, the Seattle Mariners will win the World Series this year. They're now up 1-0 on the Blue Jays in the ALCS.
Out. I think they get to the World Series. I don't think they win the World Series. I think that's the Dodgers.
God.
Or the Brewers.
Maybe.
Come on.
I would say.
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, they can't even get past the Cubs.
You're still going to lose that series.
Yeah. Cubbies in 6, right?
Come on, it'll take 7.
Man, I really hope the Brewers win the NLCS. I don't think they're going to, but I really hope they do. I'm going to say out. I think it's the Dodgers as well. They're just better than everybody else left around.
My sports rooting interests are now just to see BK wrong or upset.
I know.
Like, that's what it's come to.
You're not alone in that regard. I think a lot of our
You've changed
viewing
me,
and
man.
listening audience feels that way as well.
You've changed me.
On Saturdays, I don't root against the Illini, but if the Illini lose, I know it's going to make our show better. And so I do enjoy that. And like when T-Bone was in our Survivor pool, I definitely would have rooted against his Survivor picks.
Wow, he doesn't make picks.
I absolutely root against his picks in our pick'em. I don't do that with Alex. I have like no ill will towards Alex whatsoever.
Just because I can get under your skin.
I just root against Tanner's picks, and I don't know what's going on there.
That's funny because you
it's
root
the
against
honest to
him.
God truth, though.
The real question here is, who does T-Bone hate out of the two of us? Because
it's me.
You
It's
dislike
definitely
his teams. I dislike your teams. This is an unhealthy triangle.
I think I like going against BK because his is like his fandom for Mizzou is like significant, right? Same with Kansas City Chiefs, like huge diehard Chiefs fan, and I just like watching.
Alex's only team really that way is the Blues, and we all want the Blues to win because it's better for us.
And I'm a Blues fan, so
you know what I've learned? I'm the most likable guy on this show.
I don't know that that's
you just
true,
don't have
but
the fandom for somebody that is like a
I'm
team
a
that we
hometown
don't
guy.
like or dislike.
Yeah, I'm a hometown guy.
loser.
Yeah. You guys with all
sure
these.
do love the Cardinals.
Wow. Loved is the key word. Loved.
BK just roots against me because I get under his skin.
That's true.
I think you get under his skin and he gets under your skin.
Truly, it is a skill. It is nothing like against T-Bone. I like T-Bone a lot.
Maybe you should use
I
your
think he's really good at this, and that's part of what makes me so frustrated.
Maybe you should use your superpowers for good instead of evil.
All right. I'm out on this as well. I think the Dodgers are winning the World Series, but man, I really enjoy watching both of these teams in the American League. The Mariners and the Blue Jays are just really fun. This is going to be a really compelling series. The fact that the Blue Jays opened that game up with a leadoff home run, George Springer's awesome. I love that guy. And then had one hit the rest of the day. It speaks to what the Mariners have pitching wise right now.
Bryce Miller was awesome in that game.
Yeah.
God, he was filthy.
Alex,
what did he
what
have,
do you
like
got for us?
27 pitches in the first inning, and then don't think he went above 11 the
And
rest
the
of the
Mariners
way.
bullpen, by the way, sit down. I think it was the final 23-24 in that game.
Jeez.
Matt Brash is nasty.
Yeah.
In or out, guys, the Blues penalty kill is going to be better than the power play by the end of the season.
I'll say in because you've been telling me so far through 2 games and certainly in the offseason it's going to be top 5 in the NHL.
2 games is how you define an NHL season, as we're learning. Kyrou can't score, Snuggerud's bad, penalty kill is going to be great.
Sure.
What was he in around again?
Penalty kill is going to be better than power play.
I'll say out. I think the power play will be better.
I was telling BK, like, despite 2 really terrible bounces against this penalty kill, I mean, they should be perfect right now in the season. This penalty kill has looked really good, and they've got 4 different groups of forwards that they can use. Power play, to me, I don't like it. I think it'll be fine, but I still don't like the fact that you don't have 2 one-time options on that top unit.
T-Bone?
Guys, in or out, Mizzou will end up with the same regular season record as they had a year ago, 9-3.
I think that's the most likely scenario, so I'll say in.
Yeah, in.
I'm going to say out.
8-4.
8-4. Because I think they probably lose A&M, and I would lean towards they lose Oklahoma, although Mateer, clearly the surgery didn't fix the thumb.
He did not look good this weekend.
So I still will lean Oklahoma at that one. I think they lose that one that is quote-unquote surprising, and that's either at Vandy or at Auburn.
Yeah, I think one of these next 2 are... If they're able to get these next 2 games, they might be able to figure it out. But Man, Auburn and Vandy, both on the road, consecutive weeks, coming off of a devastating loss at home against Alabama. That's a spot that a lot of programs end up losing one of ththose two games. All right, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. From the 314, in or out, Eli Drinkwitz will be coaching somewhere other than Missouri next year.
Out. I know it's like the fun thing to say, but, man, if you're Eli Drinkwitz, you kind of like are in control of the state. And, I mean, getting paid handsomely, you're always, or at least consistently, a 9 or a 10-win team. Grass isn't always greener on the other side of the fence, so I'm going to say out.
I lean towards out for now. I will find the Penn State job fascinating to see if someone's willing to take a leap from their really good program and they decide, you know what, I've reached my ceiling here, I will leave and go and see if I can chase after something better. Because Penn State will give you better resources to build a championship contender. With that being said, you could be fired with a 10-win season, as James Franklin had learned. Now, they're not going to win 10 wins this year, but the pressure was on him. I say out for now. I don't think Drink will leave yet.
There are two jobs that are interesting to me for Drink. That's one of them, is Penn State. And if you're a Penn State fan, and I say this as somebody that does not want Eli Drinkwitz to leave, and I think he's a really freaking good football coach. Are you really firing James Franklin, who can't win the big game, to go out and acquire Eli Drinkwitz, who hasn't won the big game yet? It just feels like a strange move to me. Curt Cignetti's the guy that I think they should just throw whatever resources are necessary to go get him. Now, he may still tell you no, and in that scenario, you got to go to your second option. But that's the guy that's shown he can win the big game, and just go get him. Matt Rule has all of the connections in the world to Penn State. Again, I don't know why you would fire James Franklin to go get Matt Rule, who hasn't done a whole lot of winning big games so far at Nebraska either. I don't know. But anyways, that's one job. The job that concerns me more is Auburn, because he's seen what Auburn can look like when it's running at full capacity. He was there when they won the national title with Cam Newton as a coach there. So that one makes me nervous. And if you beat Auburn this weekend, they may fire their coach.
How fitting would that be?
It is a kind of weird spot to be at if you're a Mizzou fan. That's the one spot that I would be a little anxious about. All right, from Starvin Marvin, in or out, Bolduc is for the Blues what a Rosarena was for the Cardinals.
Out. People need to relax.
And that guy looks awesome.
He looks awesome. That's fine. But guess what? Goal scoring goes into droughts every once in a while.
It hasn't for him yet.
Yeah, okay. I don't see me with any goals.
Okay, well, he plays a different position.
So,
Picked
didn't
up an
stop
assist.
Cale McCarr.
He did not score the first goal of the season.
He what?
Mayu did not score the first goal of the season.
No, neither did Snuggerud. Yeah. I don't remember who did.
I don't think any of us picked. It was Jake Neighbours, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, none of us picked
mine
Neighbours.
was Holloway. Yep.
Have any of our guys scored? No, right?
No.
Because you picked Snuggie?
Yeah.
No,
No,
I
I
picked
picked
Snuggie.
Holloway.
He
He
picked
picked
Holloway.
Snuggies.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line.
Might
In
be.
or out, Milwaukee versus Seattle would be a World Series TV ratings nightmare. Yeah, it wouldn't be good, but who cares? It would be better for you as a mid-market team fan.
Wouldn't it actually be worse if it was like Milwaukee-Toronto? Because the Toronto ratings don't count.
Yes.
So, okay, I'll
Yeah,
go with
for
that
Major
one.
League Baseball, you just don't want
Milwaukee-Toronto is like the worst case scenario for them.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show for in or out. Guys, in or out, if Notre Dame handles USC this weekend, there will be multiple Heisman finalists from the state of Indiana: Mendoza, Carr, or Love, Jeremiah Love.
What are his numbers this year?
Love?
Yeah.
Out.
I don't think he's...
I feel like they're not like.
I was going to say, I don't feel
sexy.
like they've run him a lot this year.
But I kind of quit watching after they lost the
Well,
first two, if
fair.
I'm being honest.
I don't think those guys are the finalists. Like right now, if you had to say the finalists, Mendoza's probably one of them.
Simpson's one of them.
I would have Simpson as one of my finalists as well. It has not been a great season for.
No.
I think Carson Beck would probably be the third.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially if they stay undefeated.
Yeah, I agree. So I would say I'm out. Because again, like nobody's putting up like big sexy numbers. And even in like big wins, right? Like Ty Simpson, huge win. He threw for 200 yards. Like it wasn't a like 350 picked apart Mizzou. Alabama wins in a shootout. Same with Mendoza. Mendoza threw for less than 200 yards in their win against Oregon. So whoever wins this, it's not going to be sexy numbers that we see that were thrown up this year.
Yeah, this is not your typical Heisman candidacy season. All right, coming up in 15 minutes, we're going to dive into the junk drawer. But next, is this what fair value would look like for Broberg and Holloway? We got an updated projection from The Athletic and Dom's models. You know Alex is excited to talk about that today. We'll do that next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues back in action tonight as they visit the Vancouver Canucks. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 5:30 with Alex Ferrario, with puck drop at 6:30 with the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And news out of Major League Baseball, San Diego Padres manager Mike Shildt announced that he's stepping away as he is retiring from baseball. And ALCS and NLCS today, Game 2 of the Mariners at Blue Jays series, where the Mariners lead that series 1-game to none, and then the Dodgers and Brewers will have Game 1 tonight. The Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
All right, we just got an update on this Mike Shildt situation. We'll talk a little bit about the Blues contract projections coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. But, Alex, this comes from Bob Nightingale, who wrote a piece on the Mike Shildt situation saying that Mike Shildt explained to him his stunning decision to retire as the San Diego Padres manager. Here's what it sounds like. There were rumors percolating throughout the season that trouble had been brewing with the San Diego Padres manager Mike Shildt and their front office. And earlier today, he officially announced his retirement with 2 years left on his contract. Shildt told USA Today Sports that it took a lot out of me, just looked in the mirror, knew I didn't have it in me to do what it takes to lead another 90-plus win season and a World Series run. I'm at peace and look forward to the next chapter. Then Bob Nightingale continues with the story. Several executives in Major League Baseball told USA Today Sports this summer that the relationship between Shildt and A.J. Preller, the president of baseball operations, and his coaching staff had become strained. But Shildt denied that was the reason for his departure, saying, quote, "That wasn't it," end quote. When asked if he wanted to continue managing, he said, not at the moment. I need a break and to take care of myself. He was then asked about whether or not he had reached any kind of a financial settlement or if he was walking away from his salary. He did not respond to the question. Okay. This is now multiple times that when Mike Shildt is asked to leave or decides to leave, if you believe this story today, it comes with a whole lot of uncertainty and confusion and as a shocking departure to everybody other than those that are around the organization every day. It seems as though people in baseball were like, yeah, man, not surprised that Mike Shildt's out. That didn't come as a surprise to us. Meanwhile, all of us, I will certainly speak for myself, I was shocked when I saw this news. He's a good manager. They've had success. He seems to be doing a good job there. Yeah, they haven't won the ultimate goal, of course, but very few do. So I am surprised that this has happened. And yet, this feels like the same song and dance that took place here. It seems like a lot of the same things that we heard about when, they kind of rumored, bandied about, where it's like, hey, was there more there? What was going on? Why was he pushed out? What happened here? This report that several executives in baseball told USA Today Sports this summer that the relationship between Shildt and A.J. Preller and his coaching staff had become strained. That seems to become a consistent theme with Mike Shildt when he is the manager of a baseball team. I don't know why. I don't know what leads to it. I don't know how it happens. I think some of it may be why he's getting so burnt out to these jobs, because he is so unbelievably intense and it wears on him, and maybe he takes it out on others. I don't know. But whatever the case, it's now multiple times, and it's shedding a little bit more light as to why it ended the way that it did here in St. Louis, Alex.
I mean, you could be an incredible manager and still have other issues that impact the day-to-day side of the job. And I mean, if I'm another team looking at this right now with Mike Shildt, there are some alarm bells going up to where it's wins everywhere he goes, but yet always seems to have a clash with whether it's his own staff, the front office, and it doesn't end well. And that starts to become a problem. So the mystery is the part that always confuses me with this. It's I don't understand why it's always so mysterious, but I guess that tells you the bad blood between both sides as to why nobody really wants to speak up, because there's other things going on behind the scenes. But man, at some point, this starts to put a damper on your Major League Baseball management hopes. moving forward if this is the same stuff that comes out now in multiple different places.
Yeah. At first, the news was surprising to hear, but then like what you just read from Bob Nightingale, and you said, doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah, the only words that's different is rather than philosophical differences, it's retirement, right? Like that's the only difference that seems to be coming from this announcement that has come from Mike Shildt today. Oh, and Mike Shildt announced this one, not the Pobo. But outside of those two things, this
Same
feels,
timing too, all of it.
In the middle of the playoffs. Yeah, like it feels like it's, you see this and is, okay, so you know what the limitations are if you do go out and hire Mike Shildt again. Because I believe he'll get back into baseball. He's a baseball lifer. He'll probably step aside for a year, get his health in order that he was talking about in that letter, and then I think he'll be back. Now, as a manager role, is it more of an advisor? We'll see. But he'll get back into baseball. But if you're a team that hires him, you got to know, hey, look, this is like a 2-year window, right? We've got a 2-year window of what we're going to try and accomplish. It is going to have to be a team that is desperate, that is looking to win now, like the San Diego Padres were.
Philly to me would be the exact spot where it's like, hey, he comes in next year as the manager. Maybe they run it back this year with Rob Thompson, and they're like, all right, this is your last chance. We've given you this opportunity. You better go win. And then next year, they're in a desperate spot where you're trying to capitalize on the back end of the prime for Bryce Harper, and maybe you're willing to go out and make a hire that is going to crash and burn. We know it. Everybody does, but it's going to work for a couple of seasons. That's the spot where I think maybe it could make some sense. I thought it would make sense in San Diego, though. And now they clearly have determined, not here, buddy. No, sir. Get out. And I know that it was announced today that he has retired, but I don't take these reports lightly.
I will add on the San Diego one, too. I'm not sure Preller's that great with working with people either.
Totally.
Because he ran Bob Melvin out of town. And Bob Melvin was pretty well respected.
Well,
Bob Melvin's kind of had his issues.
Also was a creation of the A's.
That's fair. But Bob Melvin was a highly respected manager and landed on his feet, by the way. He got traded to the Giants.
Yep.
So it's not, I agree with you. I think there's probably a little bit that gets overstated with Bob Melvin. But I also am going to throw up the antennas with A.J. Preller that this is the second manager that is highly respected across baseball in terms of the winning, right? And he ran both of those guys potentially out of town as well, along with Shildt and Bob Melvin. I think there's more to Preller in this conversation as well.
Maybe, but isn't this also just kind of baseball nowadays? Like if you're getting close and you're getting close and you're getting close and you don't break through, eventually the manager's the one that's got to go.
That's fair.
I do think that it's probably tough to work for A.J. Preller in part because they are so transactional and they are constantly trying to get to that next spot, and it's so hard to do in that division. So I could see how it'd be a bit of a meat grinder to work for him. But like Shildt has not exactly earned the benefit of the doubt in this regard.
When it happens twice and in the same kind of space of those teams of trying to be a playoff team, gets to the playoffs but just can't get over the next step, and then the mystery that follows it, you get fired in the or before the offseason even begins, like you start to have some alarm bells that go up of like, okay, what's going on here? Because it's a common theme now in back-to-back situations for Mike Shildt.
I just think with how many texts that we have received saying that the Cardinals made this devastating mistake in firing Mike Shildt, like they screwed up here. This is my hope, at least. I hope today it sheds a little bit more light as to why that was probably the decision that had to be made for the organization.
Yeah.
I think it's become increasingly clear over the years that was just not a relationship that could have continued for either side. And now another organization has made the exact same decision in 2 seasons, because the Cardinals, it was 3 years, right, that he was the manager here in St. Louis? 2+ years, basically.
2.5, wasn't it? Because he came in that half of the season with Matheny getting fired.
3+, yeah.
Basically the same spot.
Yep.
Same timing, all of these different things. People thought he'd done a good job there. They thought he had done a good job here. He wears out his welcome. And then eventually you get to a place where it's time for everybody to go their separate ways. I think he's a good manager. He seems to be well respected by a lot of the people that cover him as well. He always has good relationships with the media. I was not down there day to day. That was like right in the heart of COVID. So it was not the time where we were around the team as much. But everything that I've heard is that like he's a good dude to talk with, good baseball guy. But I don't know, man. There's clearly something here that's a little bit more than what you see on the surface from the outside looking in. People that are around it every day seems to be a little different. By the way, another firing here from the NFL. After a brutal start to the season, the Titans have fired head coach Brian Callahan. Boy, was that one deserving. that one
might have should have happened earlier.
Good for Mike McDaniels for surviving ahead of Callahan. That's impressive.
I mean, Titans are 1-5. That Cardinals team, man. Kyler Murray's got to go.
Yeah.
To lose that game.
Well, Kyler Murray might be going, considering Jacoby Brissett had them in that game yesterday against the Colts.
Brissett played better.
Yeah.
Like, he just fit the offense better than Kyler has.
And the one game where Kyler has looked really good, and I forget which win it was, but where Marvin Harrison went off. And it's like, Kyler looked fine, but Marvin Harrison did the dirty work for him.
Dude, this Titans team, like, every decision since trading A.J. Brown has been worse than the last. And it's just... They are in such a bad spot. I think Cam Ward might be good. I don't know, though, because I've seen so little evidence of that. He has played so poorly this year, but it's not a very good offensive line. The weapons stink. His defense is just okay. Like, the play calling has not done him any favors. This team needs to start over. Fire the GM, get new, fresh blood in there, and then let's see what you're able to do. But right now,
didn't they just do that? Didn't they fire their GM?
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like, they're always on different timelines because they fire the GM, and then they hired the coach, and then they fire the coach, and then it's like at every turn, they have two different guys that are on different pages. They also had a quarterback that was on a separate page from, like, the coach, and that everybody was on a different timeline, and now it's time to get everybody on the timeline with Cam Ward. Do what, like, the Bears are doing, where you get the dude in there that you want to lead your organization. The problem is, like,
how appealing is this job?
Who's the coach and who wants this job? I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's the thing for me is, like, I was just thinking, okay, who's the hot coordinator that you want to go out? And I don't know that there's one that really sticks out. I mean, I guess you can go hire the guy that Baker's working with. He seems to get guys hired all the time as the OC.
Yeah, but are you going to take, like, the fourth dude to do that?
That's the thing. No, I wouldn't. I don't know what they do, the Titans. But again, the other thing is, like, I'm with you. I don't know how appealing this job is because there's not a whole lot of blue blood talent there.
This might be the year that you see college guys as an opportunity for Matt Campbell has
kind of have to get
James Franklin.
Yeah, kind of have to get the sacrificial lamb for 3 years, and then you hire the guy that you need.
There just aren't, like, who's the coach that you're hiring right now? Who is it? For real?
I don't know.
Who was Cam Ward's coach last year?
North Carolina would pay you to get Belichick off their hands.
Yeah,
Belichick doesn't want that job.
I don't know who the candidates are right now. I get Joe Brady, offensive coordinator for the Bills.
Eli Drinkwitz.
You can hire him.
Who was Cam Ward's coach last year? It was Miami, right?
Yeah, Mario Cristobal. That guy's not a good coach in college.
Yeah, but
well,
you know
that's
what?
unfair.
Oh.
I don't trust that guy as a head coach in college. I certainly wouldn't hire him in the NFL.
Well, you know what? You just go get some chemistry with your quarterback.
Coming up in 10 minutes, speaking of coaching changes, Penn State is paying $50 million for James Franklin to go away. So who do they plan to get to take their team to the next step? We'll talk about that coming up in 10 minutes. The Junk Drawer is next here on 101 ESPN. Alongside T-Bone and Alex, I'm BK. Let's dive into the junk drawer. T-Bone, what do you got for us today?
You guys were talking about, Alex is working out now. BK's wanting to get swole at the gym nearby here at work.
Sure, yeah. That's the way I described it.
Yeah.
I just want to, not get fat. That's why I'm exercising.
So you're not breathing heavy into the mic?
I haven't done that. I still think that was a conspiracy theory, and BK was the one that was breathing heavy into it.
We just want to see you healthy.
Or it could have been my glasses. My glasses do push down on my nose when I wear them. Need to stop wearing those.
Excuses.
When you guys are stretching,
Shut up,
though, I want to tell you the cautionary tale of Anthony Richardson and how he got hurt this weekend, guys. So just be careful. If you guys are going to use those, what do they call those stretching bands where you put it on your foot and you kind of stretch up. Yeah, Richardson's not good with those because it slipped, smacked him in the face, and fractured the orbital bone in his face.
We were talking about that.
So he became the third string quarterback over the weekend.
We were golfing on Sunday morning, and my cousin brought that up, and I'm like, oh, man. Because that orbital bone, that's what Joey, orbital?
You're good, man.
It's a terrible word to try and say.
You said it was great.
That was what Joey knocked him out of the NHL.
Really?
That's what it broke his I'm not even going to try it. It
orbital.
broke that bone, orbitable. I want to say orbitable. I want to add an able at the end of orbitable. I can't. I legitimately don't think I could do it. Orbital. It doesn't sound right to me. Orbitable. Regardless, that's what knocked Joey out of his playing career.
It's not funny that it knocked Joey out of his playing career, but
I can't say it. I don't know why.
Yeah, this was ridiculous, and it somehow was only the second most ridiculous injury that took place pregame for the Colts. Did you see the other one, Alex?
No, I didn't see the other one.
So their cornerback, Ferrario Rewind, was getting pregame reps in. I guess he was running routes, if I saw this correctly.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Maybe it was somebody was running a route on the field pregame, and Ferrario Rewind was jogging, seemingly not paying attention as to what was going on around him. He had his headphones on, so doing whatever. And he gets rocked. I mean, run through.
It was Warren
that
ran into him.
That's who it was?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It was
all these tight ends taking out their
Mack truck
players.
Going into a baby tree. And Ward just immediately goes down, ends up with a concussion.
Yeah. Oh.
So pregame, you've got one dude over here on his pregame workout routine with a TheraBand breaking his orbital bone.
Shut up, man. You can pronounce everything perfectly.
And starting quarterback Ferrario Rewind, who gets a concussion because the tight end is just going through pregame routes. I should have known that the Colts weren't going to be able to cover. I have my pool that I'm doing with my buddy on Sundays. We had the Colts -6.5. I should have changed it beforehand.
Yeah. Shane Steichen had to be thinking when he got the report. Imagine the trainer walking in, and you're thinking you're getting an update on the guys that are questionable for the game, and they walk in, hey, I've got 2 new injuries to add to our report. New? And then you find out it's your backup quarterback gets hurt by stretching, and then you find out that your tight end decked one of your top corners. Dude, okay, if there was ever a sign that you thought Indy was going to lose that game, that was it.
From stepdad Gary, this orbital bone pronunciation issue is horrible.
Hey, man. It's not fun to make fun of people that can't speak properly.
Can you give me an orbital bone?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
What ended Joey's career?
I'm not a performing monkey. You mispronounced it too.
Orbital.
You did the same damn thing. What are you trying to jump in on the joke for? You're the one that started it.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get to our football pick'em reveal. Was not a good week for some of us here on the show. We'll tell you who coming up in 10 minutes. But next, Penn State is going to pay $50 million for James Franklin to just go away. Just please stop coaching our football team. Okay, that's fine. What next? Who are they going to get to be better than James Franklin? We'll talk about it here on BK and Ferrario.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends out at Ted Drew's just off of Chippewa. That is open and a perfect opportunity for you and the family, you and friends to get on out there and enjoy a St. Louis tradition since 1929. They've got concretes, malt, shakes, sundaes, floats, ice cream, sodas. All of it is there for you. Plus, you could buy it in the quart size, bring it home, freeze it, have it for all the holiday parties that are going to be coming up really soon. BK and I were just talking about it. The weather's going back into the 80s this week. What better way to enjoy that warm weather while it's here still than to go get Ted Drew's famous frozen custard. It's perfect anytime with any type of weather, and it's family owned and operated with consistency and tradition surrounding 4 generations of family that have been running this Ted Drew's business. While you're out there, make sure you check out the gift shop and the History Museum. It's right across the parking lot at Chippewa, the Ted Drew's Historical Museum and Gift Shop. You could look through all types of Route 66 St. Louis memorabilia, Ted Drew stuff. You could buy unique apparel. You can also buy gift cards over at Ted Drew's at their shop, or you can do that online at teddrewsgiftshop.com. Again, Ted Drew's famous frozen custard, 96 years and 4 generations of family serving St. Louisans at famous frozen custard. Unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
I get that James Franklin probably had to go away, Alex. It was time. You can't lose to UCLA and Northwestern in consecutive weeks and continue to be the coach at Penn State. I get that. And yet, paying $50 million for this guy to go away, to hire, I don't know, Matt Rule or Eli Drinkwitz even, who I like. I think he's a really good coach. It just feels like one of those things that you look back on and you're like, was that really the right move for us? James Franklin since 2016, Alex. I'm going to read you his wins by year at Penn State. And this is excluding the 2020 COVID season because it was a fake year that it shouldn't count for anybody. 11-11-9. 11-7. Oh, rough year in 2021, James Franklin. 11-10-13 and was a play away from making it to the national championship. And then you've got this season. And now he's fired. He's gone. 2 weeks ago, this guy lost in overtime in what was one of the best games of the season against a top 5 opponent in Oregon. And now he's fired. Again, I get it. But it's a lot of money to get this guy to go away. If your answer is Matt Rule, who has on his resume 10-win season at Temple in which he went 10-4, 10-win season at Temple in which he went 10-3, and an 11-3 season at Baylor, which ended in a Sugar Bowl loss. Is that really the answer for them? Is to go out and acquire Matt Rule?
It sounds like it's very likely that that's the answer. I'm in the same line of thinking as you. I don't understand that. Like, again, I think that UCLA loss was like, okay, you know what's coming, and you got to stop the snowball at some point. But coming into the season, he was viewed as one of the better coaches in college football. And it's a guy that always is double-digit wins. And sure, he just can't win the big game. How many college football coaches out there can win the big game?
That's the thing, not many.
You brought it up about Drinkwitz. Like, yeah, sure, Drinkwitz would be exciting for Penn State. Well, what's he won? Matt Rule, what has he won? Like, that's the biggest thing for me.
Pinstripe Bowl.
I just, like, you could sit here and act as if, well, we're going to go get the next big thing. Cool, man, but you're going to be saying the same thing that you were saying with James Franklin in about 4 years or 5 years from now. Can't win the big game if he gets to that point, because James Franklin at least consistently got you to that point. So, again, I understand this is the state of athletics, sports. At some point, you got to stop the snowball. It's ugly, and you don't want it to keep getting ugly. But, man, in college football, when you're successful for as long as James Franklin was, I think I'd stick with that type of success, even if I'm not winning the big game.
Yeah, they've done this this is now year 13, year 12 for him at Penn State. And so if you keep banging your head against that glass ceiling, I do understand, especially at a program like Penn State where you have the history. Like, Penn State is a legit blue blood type of football program. They should be a very good team annually. And I get how you end up in a spot where you feel like, we can't break through with this guy as our head coach. Okay, fair. I just fail to see right now who that guy is. And somebody brought this up on the text line. I want to give them their credit because it's a good point. They mentioned, hey, Notre Dame decided to basically part ways with their head coach when Brian Kelly was doing really well there. Now, I think technically it was like Brian Kelly left for LSU, but it seemed as though it was one of these like, we're both ready to move our separate ways kind of situations. And they end up hiring a coach who had his growing pains, sure, but it seems as though there's a bit of a higher ceiling right now with their current head coach compared to what they had with Brian Kelly. So maybe the same thing can be true with Penn State and their next hire. Now, if they get Curt Cignetti, it all makes sense to me. I will have zero criticisms of the move. This is a guy that has proven at Indiana, not only can he elevate your program like that, but also he can win the big game. He just did it this past weekend against Oregon. He's done the thing that James Franklin always failed to do in his time at Penn State. Beyond that, though, man, who's the hire that you're going to look at and you will say to yourself, this was a smart and well thought out decision to fire James Franklin to hire X, Y, or Z? Are there other coaches that immediately come to mind for you?
The only one that I can think of, and I don't think it would happen, but there was the report in the offseason that there might be some buzz around his name, was if you hired like Nick Saban. But if I'm
sure, of course.
If I'm Saban, like I think he's probably not coming back. It's Saban, it's Cignetti, and that's probably my first two calls. That's it, because like Matt Rule's not that guy for me. Maybe he ends up getting to that level, but like it takes him 3 years to really elevate a program, as you saw at Temple and then as you saw at Baylor, and he's in year 2 at Nebraska. So maybe he would do it again at Nebraska, and you kind of pluck him before he does that. Outside of that, like I don't, Manny Diaz, that's not a hire that I saw him fail at Miami. Bill O'Brien, which is a name that's connected to him, he's failing at Boston College right now. I just don't see who the guy is that they can pinpoint and say, this is the guy that we bring in and we know he's going to elevate us and lift our ceiling.
The other thing about a move like this, and I think it was Josh Pate who said this, who does a college football show. He said, I think one of the things that college football fans need to realize is that sometimes you just have a dead season. Sometimes with the transfer portal and the way that things work for your roster, like sometimes it just doesn't click. Mm-hmm. And you end up that year winning 7 games. And it sucks. It's not fun, but you don't have it. And then you reload in the offseason, and the next year you might win 11. It's just hard to say because the transfer portal has so much influence on whether or not your team's going to be good. Part of the reason why I was excited about Mizzou this year after we saw the first couple of games, it's like, oh, man, they hit in the portal. Damon Wilson's a stud. By the way, he had a great game over the weekend against Alabama. Defensive end out of Georgia. They figured it out there. Josiah Trotter, the linebacker that they got from West Virginia, that kid is a stud. He's so good. Bo Perbula, early on the season, all right, they figured it out at quarterback. Ahmad Hardy got one of the best running backs in the country. So they hit on their portal additions. And that means that, okay, this could be the year that you break through. If they had missed on one or two of those guys, it could have been a dead season. Mizzou goes 6-6. It was very much on the table. And that is the very slim margin of getting it right versus getting it wrong in college football now. And I think this year we've seen like this was just a dead season for Penn State. They got it wrong on some of their player evaluations. It didn't work with running it back at some of those positions as well. And they're clearly missing a guy that helped them a ton last year in Tyler Warren. Like, that guy made their offense hum. We talked about it all last year where that guy was just a man among boys. And when you have that as a weapon for you, that's just an outlet at any given time, it makes everything else easier. So now that you didn't have it, it changes everything.
Yeah, I mean, this total tinfoil speculation, but like I was just looking at the numbers for Aller and Prabula, and they're kind of similar, but you wonder if maybe they chose the wrong quarterback. But I guess you don't really have much say in that because...
And also, like, I think this past weekend we just saw with Bo Prabula, he has his own limitations.
Yeah.
And you couldn't have gone with Bo Prabula. Like, Drew Aller had you a drive away from going to the national championship game last year.
Yeah, and you thought he would take that next step, and he didn't. And I mean, that's the story for a lot of failed quarterbacks this season. Like, look at Klubnik at Clemson, right? He hasn't taken that next step. And you're right. I mean, with the portal, we've seen it. Programs can get it wrong. And it happens at the basketball level as well, right? I mean, look at Dennis Gates in his season 2 years ago. So, like, it is going to become more of a common thing. And it's possible that Mizzou goes through it with Drinkwitz. It's possible it happens for Illinois next year because Illinois is going to have to reload, losing some of their top pieces. But the thing that I just continue to say, and I said it, and look, they probably did have to move on from James Franklin after the loss to Northwestern. A little unfair when your starting quarterback is out for the season now. But it's hard to find the guy that takes this job. I don't know who's leaving their happy place right now to go to Happy Valley.
So that's my question. I heard Gabe DeArmond talking about this today. Would you rather have the job at Penn State than what Eli Drinkwitz currently has at Missouri? Or what, like Lane Kiffin would be another guy that could take this job conceivably, right? Would you rather have that job than Ole Miss? Would you rather have that job than what Eli Drinkwitz currently has at Mizzou? Would you rather have that job than what Curt Cignetti currently has at Indiana? I'm truly asking. I think that there's answers on both sides, but where do you guys fall on this?
You're talking about for Penn State? I mean...
I'm talking about if you're these coaches, if you're Curt Cignetti, I've got a pretty good gig right now. Indiana's spending money. I'm getting players via the transfer portal. I'm having success. I have the ultimate job security. I'm not a young guy anymore. I don't want to rebuild again. This is my first real opportunity at a Power 5 gig. They took a chance on me, and I'm winning here. I can put Indiana on the map in a way that almost nobody ever has, and I can do things here to where I am remembered as the greatest coach in program history. Yeah. And even if I have a 7-5 season next year, I'm still a legend for what I've already accomplished in my first 2 years. That's what he can do there. If he goes to Penn State, you're one of many. And if you don't win 11 games next year, you're a failure. But you could win 11 games next year at Penn State, and you could win a title there if you're able to translate what you've done at Indiana with more resources and a higher level of recruiting at Penn State. And just, you could transfer all of the things that I just said about Cignetti, transfer those to Mizzou and Eli Drinkwitz, or transfer those to Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. Would you rather be at those schools or take this new opportunity at Penn State if you're in Cignetti, Drink, or Lane Kiffin's shoes? Because I think those are three of the guys that will at least be in conversations. If it's not for Penn State, then it'll be for Auburn or for Florida. They're all going to have similar names that they're looking at this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, unless we're talking like life-changing money, which these guys are already played well, but if we're talking life-changing money,
I don't think money's even going to be a conversation. I think all of these schools can match the money.
Yeah, well, so that's what it comes down to. Where are you most comfortable at?
I think it comes down to, do you think you can win a national championship at where you are? And do you care about that,
I'm not going to take that job, though. And that's why I brought up the money. And yeah, if they match it, then that's great. I ask for the world and I get it. But I mean, if this is just based off of I could win a championship there, this is just me personally. I'd rather stay somewhere where I'm comfortable, where even a 9-win season is viewed as successful, but I have a chance to do something that nobody else could, versus go there, not get to 11 wins, and get fired 3 years from now.
You know what I think makes college football coaches special? They're crazy. You know why I say that? Because they have to do all kinds of freaking work to build a roster. They got to recruit. They got to go out and get to the transfer portal. They got to also, while doing that, build an offense. Try coaching in the college football playoff while also recruiting and retaining a roster and balancing your budget sheet with your GM. Like, I think these guys are a special breed of insane, and I think these guys are all chasing that hope. And the reason that I bring that up is, I think if you can see that someone like a Cignetti or a Lane Kiffin can like get to the college football playoff, and not just get to the college football playoff, but have a like legitimate contender that can get there and potentially win it all, goodbye to the blue blood that these guys are going to want to go after and chase, right? Because now I can look at what Cignetti just did in Indiana and go, why can't I do what he just did at that school if I'm Eli Drinkwitz here at Missouri? Rather than saying, I'll go take that risk at Penn State where I can get fired for 10-win seasons. The reason that people would take these blue blood jobs was it does have more resources. It does mean I can get to that college football championship quicker or potentially get there because I couldn't do that at the other school. If Cignetti can do it at Indiana, Drinkwitz can do it at Missouri.
So I think that's going to be what I find most interesting about the decisions here. I think this will be telling on what they think. I see the same thing that you do, T-Bone. I think they can win at these schools. Do they feel that way? Because if they don't, they'll take these jobs. If they do, they'll stick with where they're at. Because I think they'll be offered. Penn State will probably be offered. The first guy that they have to call is Curt Cignetti. If they call anybody other than Curt Cignetti first, everybody involved should be fired. That has to be their first call. And then if he tells them no, which he might, then you make your other calls. And my guess is Matt Rule, for reasons that are beyond what I understand. He's an alum. He played football there. He's really close with the AD, whatever. They'll probably call him second. And if he says no, then you get to like the Drink, the Lane Kiffin, all of the other options that are a little bit lower on the list. But I'm going to be fascinated to see what the answer is, because Auburn might come open, Florida might come open, Penn State is already open, Arkansas is open. These are big-time jobs for the most part. I would say Arkansas is like a different tier than most of the rest of them, but they've got Tyson Chicken money, so you never know. This is going to be a fascinating offseason in the college football coaching world, the likes of which we haven't seen just yet in the NIL/transfer portal era. All right, alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Our football pick'em reveal is next. Hey, it's BK, and it is time to unlock your inner champion. The place to do so is with Victory Men's Health. Check them out today online at victorymenshealth.com. When you get over there to their website, they can tell you, or you'll see what they have to offer to unlock your inner champion. Whether it's erectile dysfunction issues that you're dealing with, weight loss goals you're trying to meet, maybe it's some of those signs of low testosterone. You're feeling like you don't have the same energy that you once did. You're not getting the same results out of your workouts that could be due to low testosterone. They can check those levels for you over at Victory Men's Health. They have 4 great locations across the St. Louis area: O'Fallon, Illinois, O'Fallon, Missouri, Sunset Hills, and the location that I personally go to out in town and country. They feel like family when I walk through the door at Victory Men's Health. They'll make you feel the same way as well. So check them out today at victorymenshealth.com. That's where you book that first appointment. Put in your name, email, phone number, tell them BK with 101 ESPN sent you, and then tell them what it means for you to unlock your inner champion. They'll be able to do that at Victory Men's Health and online at victorymenshealth.com. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK. All right, it is time for our football pick'em reveal. If you're new to the show, you haven't heard this before. Each and every Friday, we all make 3 picks. It's against the spread. No props, no over-unders, just against the spread. And the only real rule here is has to be played prior to the start of the show on Monday. So none of the Monday Night Football games are eligible. Alex came into the week with a commanding lead in our full season rankings. Also, frankly, in the second month rankings.
That was only 2 points I was up on.
Yeah, so me and T-Bone falling behind once again. Alex exclusively plays on the NFL side of things. He's learned his lesson on the college side, so he sticks with the NFL. Here's his 1 point play.
My 1 point play for this week is I'm taking the Raiders -4.5 at home against the Titans. This team has been bad all season long, but I do feel like against the Titans team might be the opportunity for them to open it up.
This is Shildt. He's in. Touchdown. Ashton Shildt.
Luckily for me this year in college football, like there are just a couple of teams you know they're going to lose every week. You just pick those, just go against those teams. New Orleans and Tennessee have just been cupcakes for me.
Yeah, I actually liked the Saints side of things this week against the spread. That did not go well for me, obviously, but they kept it close. They made it interesting. Rattlers batter the Titans, though, man. Good call.
Yeah, well, and without Brock Bowers,
fired their coach.
There was a little part of me that was like, oh, I don't know.
That's what scared me.
I felt like you got a better coach. You got better difference makers in the game in terms of Max Crosby. The quarterback's better as of right now. So that was 4.5 scared me. I was really hoping that was like 2.5 or 3.5, but thank you, Vegas.
As we saw today, Callahan, not an NFL coach.
Alex's 2 point play was also T-Bone's 2 point play. Let's take a listen.
My 2 point play because your Kansas City Chiefs are in action at home tonight football, and I am picking the Lions +2.5. I do think the Chiefs have figured it out on offense. Mahomes is starting to really pick it up. I don't think their defense can stop Detroit's offense.
My 2 point play. My Monday is going to be so sweet because Saturday the Tide are going to roll into town and roll over the Tigers.
It's going to be a hurricane.
Followed by a Sunday night where the Lions chomp down the Chiefs. Yeah, give me Detroit +2.5.
Mahomes searching, cuts across with a touchdown to Hollywood Browns for the second time in the second half.
That one could have gone better. That one could have gone better. I mean, in
13-point loss. Not quite the 2.5 point spread.
In fairness, the offense was rolling in the first half. Amon-Ra St. Brown drops that football, and, could have been a different outcome there. But also didn't expect Detroit to be down 5 of their 6 cornerbacks and, not knowing how to stop Hollywood Brown from running the football into the end zone.
Yeah, when, I finally realized the 5 of 6 corners was out, that's when I went, oh, this was a mistake.
Yeah, I've made a mistake.
That was announced prior to the show on Friday, just for what it's worth.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't really pay attention to that when I made that play, and I just thought, Lions, they should be able to score on the Chiefs. That's why they win it. Nah.
I did have a little bit of anxiety when right before kickoff, like an hour and a half before kickoff, they announced, hey, Josh Simmons is going home. The Chiefs staff wasn't aware of this. They're going to go with their backup left tackle tonight. There's some personal issue going on. I don't know. They've been very vague about the whole thing. It's been weird, but Chiefs win 30-17. Looked great. Your 3 point play, Alex.
So my 3 point play, I'm taking the Patriots -3.5 on the road in the Saints. Now, the road game is what scares me a little bit here. But, man, after watching the Patriots in these last couple of weeks, their offense has figured it out. But, man, Drake May is just a threat through the air and with his legs, and I think that defense is going to be enough to keep it pressure-filled on Spencer Rattler. So, Patriots -3.5.
Patriots threatening. May takes a shot down the field. It's Booty. Touchdown.
And the Saints were booty.
Drake May is having a really good season, man. He's on pace this year for 4,300 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions.
The Patriots make the playoffs. I could make a case for Mayfield, and Daniel Jones all being in the MVP conversation.
Just as we all predicted.
What year is this right now?
All right, that's a 4-point week for Alex Ferrario. He's up to 7 in the second month of our season. Up
and
to
the 2
25 for the year.
I could just settle that one now.
Alex is crushing it right now. T-Bone, let's get to your picks. You already lost your 2 point play. How'd your 1 point play go?
My 1 point play. I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars +1.5 against the Seattle Seahawks. I was impressed by the Jags defense and what they did against Patrick Mahomes. And I like the Seahawks defense, but they're just not healthy. And I think that's going to allow for Trevor Lawrence and that's Jags offense to put up points. It's only 1.5, so it's essentially like a pick 'em. I like the Jaguars in this one. They're my 1 point play.
As Darnold sets to throw and folding one down the middle. And Smith and Jigba has it. Touchdown, Seahawks.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, top 5 receiver in the NFL right now?
God, yes.
Yeah.
He's been amazing.
Makes sense why they moved on from Metcalf.
I guess so, man.
I mean, I still think Metcalf's a stud. I'd like to have both of those guys, but my goodness.
Yeah, the Seahawks have been really good so far this season. They played that really close game against the Bucs, but otherwise, it's a fun team, man.
Yeah.
Darnold's playing basically the same way that he did a year ago. I guess he's legit. I won't trust him once we get into January, just as I didn't last year, but Seahawks are a legit 11-win football team.
Yeah, and the Jaguars are a team that I really don't trust anymore and have trust issues because I thought they would be able to put up points like the Chiefs did against the beat-up secondary of the Lions.
Yeah.
And instead, they completely no-showed.
I think the Seahawks are a top 5-ish defense in the NFL right now.
I would agree with that.
I trust them. Week in, week out, I think they make other teams work for it harder than basically anybody
I think the
else.
NFC side of the playoffs this year is going to be so freaking fun.
All right, T-Bone, your 3-point play, same as my 3-point play. Let's take a listen.
For my 3-point play, I'm going to college football. One of the best rivalries in the country, the Red River rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma. Look, Mateer somehow is back. Arch Manning sees ghost. He's terrible. One of the worst quarterbacks in the country. I think Oklahoma runs away with this, and I'm getting them at -1.5. Yes, please.
I, too, will be taking the Oklahoma Sooners. Texas's biggest issue against Florida, which I learned, unfortunately, the hard way last week, was that they didn't know how to deal with pressure. Arch Manning freaks out. He doesn't know how to handle it right now. He's still a very young quarterback. He's unproven at this level. This line's wrong. I'm sorry. It's just wrong.
Niblett, who carefully fields this one, has some room. Ryan Niblett weaving, still running down the sideline. Niblett all the way to the house. 75, no flags.
God, Grant and Jordan got a front row view of me celebrating that Texas victory on Saturday.
If you just look at the Texas offensive stats, they were not overly impressive. Yeah. They had that punt return touchdown. Oklahoma gave them 3 turnovers, which set them up for success offensively as well. Oklahoma just did nothing offensively. They couldn't get anything going. Which
is why it's even more amazing that you decided to say that this line doesn't make sense to me.
Bad
because
job
you BKO'd it.
That's a 0-point week for you.
I know.
Oh, Jesus, T-Bone.
I've been terrible this year.
Let's get to my 1-point play.
My 1-point play this week, I think that my Missouri Tigers have what it takes.
You just ruined it for them, man.
To beat the Alabama Crimson Tide. They are at home. They are a 3.5-point underdog in this game. Love the fact that I'm getting the hook here. I think that at a minimum, Missouri is going to be able to keep this game close. I do think it could be decided by a field goal one way or the other. That is enough to cover this spread. M-I-Z.
Simpson on 4th and goal to pass to the end zone. It is Daniel Hill, the 244-pound running back with the touchdown reception.
Listen, man, they didn't win, but good teams win. Great teams cover, and they covered. And that's ultimately all that matters for us in this game that we play that is so stupid every single week.
I think for that line to matter, though, you got to, win and cover.
Yeah,
I don't think you can just cover and then not win.
I don't know.
A great team because he covered, but he still got their butts kicked. But
tomato. They won in the place that I...
Look, it was a 28-point line, and they lost by 26. That's a great team.
All right, so the Tigers cover. They get me the point. Let's go to the NFL for my 2-point play.
I like the Colts -6.5 against the Arizona Cardinals. It is unknown right now if Kyler Murray is going to be playing in this game on Sunday, and frankly, I don't care. Kyler Murray is not going to change that much for me. I think that the Colts are just a significantly better football team.
Cardinals on the move in a tie game. Brissett will throw underneath. It's caught. Dortch down the sideline and into the end zone. It's a touchdown for Arizona.
You guys need to leave the NFL plays to me.
Yeah, apparently I just need to leave all of the plays to you, Alex.
Not all of them. You got Mizzou and Bama.
What's frustrating is 2 of the other 3 games I had on my radar, I would have gone 2-1.
I did well with my other games as well.
Both lost the 3-point play again.
Yeah. We have not hit a 3-point play yet in this month. I get my 1 point, though, which is better than what T-Bone got this week. T-Bone has 3 points so far this month. I have 2. Alex has 7. A real barn burner here.
There's still 3 weeks left. I'm not going to get excited right now. The season rankings are the part that I'm feeling pretty. I'm
25 points for Alex. If you combine me and T-Bone, we have 25.
I feel like Tyreek Hill in that Super Bowl. I'm just douching it right now. You guys, I don't think are catching the season one.
Yeah,
to be fair,
I don't think so.
I said going into that week, boy, I don't like any of these lines. And was I proven right by going 0-3?
I think the narrative here is when you get too confident on your pick, Brandon, they don't go well for
I'm
you.
also getting punished from the fast lane. Did I tell you guys what I did?
No.
So
God.
this week
I heard your points.
I was a little late on my pick on Thursday night to get it in. So I put in the Eagles, and then I just took all of the home teams because I was like, oh, I'll get to it on Saturday night. I'll make sure that I've got all my picks in. Well, Saturday, you guys know I came down with like a flu-like symptoms, basically. I was like totally down for the count on Saturday. And then Sunday, I woke up at like 9:30 or so. I totally forgot about the London game. I had no recollection that there was a London game this week. Well, the Jets were the home team. And so I had marked the Jets as my pick for that London game. We lost by a point, and I picked the Jets, and I'm down by a point in our pick'em as well. So I'm getting punished, and our team lost because I picked the Jets on Sunday morning because I forgot to put that pick
The
in.
offer still stands from
We've
both
tried to
T-Bone and Alex.
fix the fast lane team.
If you'd like to kick the fourth or the fifth wheel out of your group, there's open invitations.
Maybe this week I'll let you guys take over for me. We'll go through the picks together, and I'll get your input.
I think we do
If
this
you
every week,
remember.
and we give you the picks, and you go with your picks.
Coming up next, is this fair value for Broberg and Holloway? We'll talk about it here on BK and Ferrario.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues back in action tonight as they visit the Vancouver Canucks. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 5:30 with Alex Ferrario and puck drop at 6:30 with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. News out of Major League Baseball, Mike Shildt has announced his retirement as he steps down as the San Diego Padres manager. And tonight there will be Game 2 of the ALCS between the Mariners and Blue Jays as the Mariners lead that series 1-0, and Dodgers visit the Milwaukee Brewers for Game 1 of the NLCS. The Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
With Alex and T-Bone on BK. So earlier today over at The Athletic, they put together the contract projection, Alex, for Dylan Holloway and for Philip Broberg. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it's what they will get. It's just what Dom's model suggests they're potentially worth in any kind of a contract extension, okay? For Dylan Holloway, they have it at $7.5 million per year as his contract projection. They have him worth, though, $11.5 million as his market value. On Philip Broberg, they have him as a $7 million contract projection, but again, market value of roughly $10 million. Alex, where do you see these guys coming in if they were to be extended?
So, reading through Dom's, the one that I still just don't know about is Philip Broberg, because just defensemen get paid differently. You know, their agents seemingly like to get those longer-term deals because there's just a lot of wear and tear that go on the defensemen. Broberg's still young, 24 years old, doesn't have a whole lot of NHL experience underneath him. I think with the extensions you've seen around the NHL this season, you're looking somewhere between like $8 and $11 million for Broberg. And then that really comes down to how many years does he want? Because if they're going to go long-term, well, maybe you get more money out of it. Short-term, maybe less. The Holloway one is, I'm starting to feel like I'm pretty confident where it's going to be. And I think you're looking at somewhere between $8 and $9 million. Because if you're a forward right now, I don't think it makes sense to sign for anything more than 4 years. Like, I think as a forward, you want to maximize in a small window how much money you can make and then have another big contract on the back end of it.
The one way that I would say it does make sense is twofold, I guess. You're super comfortable with where you're at. You just want you want to be there. You're not worried about it. You're going to get life-changing money either way. So, like, let's just lock it in. And two, if you're somebody like a Dylan Holloway, for example, where you've had an injury scare, man, having that locked-in certainty of I'm going to make $75 million, $85 million over the next 8 years, I can see the value in that.
And I think you're spot on, because I do think a lot plays into, like, do you like it where you're at? Because if you do, which I have no reason to believe that they don't, then yeah, you lock yourself up. But most of the time you see that for guys like Kyle Connor when they're 28 and they're like, hey, I've been here long enough. This is what I feel like I'm worth, and I want to stay where I'm at because I like it here. So, like, for both Broberg and Holloway, they're both 24 years old. So I could realistically see like a 4-year window for them to say, like, let's get this and then go get a bigger pay deal. But like, I look at what Mason McTavish scored for the Anaheim Ducks. Now, he's 2 years younger than Dylan Holloway, but he had played at the NHL consistency longer. Yep. And in Dom's point, if you're projecting Holloway to be like a 60 to 70 point player, then I think you're talking like $7 million, $7.5 million, maybe $8 million. But if there's more to him, and we believe that this is an 80 or a 90 point player, then now you could start talking $9, $10, $11 million. So I think Dylan Holloway is probably right in that $8.5 million range, and you're talking like 4 years for him, and then you set it, and then you go get that next big contract.
I did find some of the comparisons to be interesting,
especially for Holloway.
There's a few former Blues on this list. The Blues on this list are Jaden Schwartz, Paul Stastny, and TJ Oshie.
I love the TJ Oshie one. I think it's spot on.
Nino Niederreiter is also on here. David Krejci is on here as well. What do you make of the comparisons for Dylan Holloway?
I think if you look at all of them, it's exactly what Dom said, and it's what I said. You're a 60-point player. Now, if there's more to Dylan Holloway, then you could get him for a steal. Like, let's say he signs a 4-year, $8 million extension at the end of this season. if this is a 90-point player and he's only played 2 full seasons in the NHL, well, man, now you got it at a steal. But I think TJ Oshie is the perfect comp because he's got offensive upside. Oshie has scored 30 goals consistently around that 25 mark, but he's a distributor and he's just one of the harder workers on the ice.
Some of the comparisons for Philip Broberg, Hampus Lindholm is an interesting one since we've had so many conversations about him.
Wanted him.
And it was a guy that the Blues were very interested in. Jacob Slavin is one of the comparisons
top
here.
Pair defenseman.
Colton Parayko is one of the top comparisons
baby
here.
Parayko.
Ryan McDonough, who we had talked about as a potential answer for the Blues, also was a big-time piece for the Tampa Bay Lightning as they were going through that run. And then Brett Pesce. What do those comparisons tell us about Philip Broberg?
Top 4. Top pair eligible defensemen. And again, like Parayko, if he was a free agent in this market, you'd be talking $9+ million, which is why the hiccup with Broberg is going to be, you don't have a whole lot of experience in the NHL. But if you go back-to-back years where you're a better defensive player than you are offensive player, but still putting up good offensive numbers, yeah, I think you're probably talking 9 or 10 mil. It's going to come down to the years that they're willing to sign and stay in St. Louis with and how much the Blues are willing to pay.
If they both said today, I want to sign an 8-year contract to stay in St. Louis, what would you be willing to offer if you were in Doug Armstrong's shoes?
I would be willing to go all the way up to $10 million.
I think that's what I would be doing.
I would say I would really try and get it at like 8.5 to 9.5, but I would be willing to go to $10 million because I'm projecting on the future of what these guys are going to be.
If they were shorter term, you go lower AAV?
Yep. Shorter term, you could probably get it at 7.5, maybe 8.
Yeah, closer to what their projections are on these deals right now. 7.3 for Dylan Holloway, and on Broberg, I think it was like 7.5.
Which I know if people see that and they'll be like, oh, well, man, you only got 4 years out. Man, that's not a bad thing. They're banking on themselves to go out there and produce more. And if they turn into 100-point players or number 1 defensemen, then you're going to pay the guys what they're worth, just like you're paying them what you're paying Thomas and Kyrou what you thought they were worth, and now they're exceeding it.
He's Alex Ferrario, that's Tanner Hendrickson, and I'm Brandon Kiley. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Hey, I mentioned that I did not do particularly well in the Fast Lane's Pick'em Challenge this week. In each week, the Fast Lane and the Riz Show battle it out for the Pick'em Challenge, but sometimes they come together, just hang out, watch football. You can join Stalter and learn from the Riz Show this Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30 at Hot Shots in O'Fallon, Illinois. Come watch the Thursday night football game, get signed up for some Point and 101 ESPN giveaways. Enjoy a cold Bud Light as well. It's Thursday, 6:30 to 8:30 with Stalter, Learn, and Bud Light at Hot Shots in O'Fallon, Illinois. We'll get to the rewind coming up next here on 101 ESPN. TMA is live this Wednesday morning from the Rawlings Experience at Westport Plaza. Rawlings, the #1 baseball brand worldwide, will be revealing this year's Gold Glove Award finalists. It's Wednesday morning, TMA live in Westport Plaza for the Gold Glove Award finalists. That is coming on Wednesday. Details right now at 101ESPN.com. If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. That is always sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
101 ESPN app, free to download, super easy to use, and it is sponsored by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Alex, we revisit the top stories from today. Begin with our Mizzou conversation. They lost, and it was incredibly frustrating. That's a game you should have won. You had every opportunity to do so. Their quarterback was better than your quarterback, and in the winning moments, their quarterback made plays, and yours couldn't. And ultimately, that's really what it came down to. If you want our extended thoughts on the matter, you can go check those out on the podcast page later on today. T-Bone near Illini, they ran into a boa constrictor in Ohio State. They didn't play in overly poorly necessarily. They just got blue chipped. The other team was better than Illinois, and now their margin for error is 0. They cannot lose another game, and they might already be out because of how poorly they played against Indiana.
Yeah, I liked the way they played against Ohio State. They shot themselves in the foot, led to that loss. Even if they win out, I don't know that I see their path to the college football playoff, which sucks.
The Mariners won the first game in the ALCS. They're up 1-0. It's Yasevich versus Gilbert tonight in Game 2. A game starts at 4 o'clock. Who do you guys have in Game 2 of this series between the Mariners and the Blue Jays?
I think the Blue Jays get it.
I do too. I think this is going to be a tight series.
I think this one's going 7.
The
other one's only going 5.
Get this one go up 2-0, and that one's going to be interesting. Game
Brewers are going up
1 of the
1-0.
NLCS. You guys know where I'm going. Blake Snell on the mound for the Brewers. Do we have an announced starter yet for the Brewers?
No, it's going to be a surprise. How can the Dodgers prepare for us if we don't know who we're throwing?
It's an out-getter. It's not an
I'm going
opener.
to take the Dodgers. I think they win this thing in 3. Three games is all they need.
Okay, Bob, relax over there.
Yeah, well, you just BKO'd the Brewers. So congrats, Milwaukee. I got the Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh, tonight or overall?
Oh, no, overall it's the Dodgers.
Oh, same.
You got the Brewers in Game 1?
Yeah.
Okay. I got the Dodgers in 6.
And the Blues back in action this evening. You'll hear that right here in your home of the Blues 101 ESPN. It'll be the Blues versus the Canucks. Alex, what you looking for in this one?
Better defensive play. They've had their struggles. God, please stop taking penalties so we could keep it at 5-on-5, and just how this offense continues to rotate. I think you're going to see a couple of line changes and lineup changes on the defensive side, but I think this is a 3-1 Blues win.
I would love to see what that top line is going to look like tonight. That's what I'm most curious about. If you're ready to hit the fairway with the crew from TMA, 101 ESPN and Mick Culture are presenting Tee It Up with TMA's giveaway. One lucky winner and a guest will score a free round of golf with Tim and Jackson of TMA at Fox Run Golf Club. It's your chance to hang out and enjoy a laid-back round with Tim and Jackson. Use code SWING, S-W-I-N-G, that's SWING, to get entered to win now at 101ESPN.com or on the 101 ESPN mobile app. Must be 21 or older. The Tee It Up with TMA giveaways, courtesy of Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. For Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Fast Lane's coming up next year on 101 ESPN.
Because at Orbital Bone, that's what Joey, orbital, it broke his I'm not even going to try it. It broke that bone, Orbital.